So this is Monster of the Week, and so it's a little bit different because it's using the Powered by the Apocalypse system, which is probably one of the best named RPG systems I've ever encountered. Um, and what's unusual about it, as you guys know, is you only use 2d6. And so when we're playing and I call for a roll, it's always going to be 2d6 plus the relevant modifier on your sheets. And I think everyone has their sheets ready to go, but you'll either be rolling with, charm, cool, sharp, tough, or weird. And on your sheet, you even have listed out some of the other moves that kind of like skills that go under those different things. So you have that kind of cheat sheet. And then you also have the cheat sheet that I gave you in the Discord, um, which has all your basic moves. And then, so everyone has access to all of those moves and what they do, plus the new moves that are on your sheet. The interesting thing about this is me as the keeper, which is what they call the GM in this, is I never have to roll dice. Everything is reactionary and narrative based. And that really kind of highlights what I think is really cool about this system is that it's very rules light, very loosey goosey, narrative driven, and it's not crunchy like D&D 3.5 or Pathfinder would be. It's very squishy as a narrative storytelling kind of thing, and that's why I love the idea of running this with Fibble 42 is because we have such just great role players in this group. And I asked all of you guys to be part of it because you guys are all great role players as well. And so I think that you guys paired with
Aw.
this system, like a nice wine and cheese will be a nice pairing. Um, and yeah, so here's the thing that is kind of overarching for how the rules work is everything is broken down to failure, mixed success, and full success. So
Okay.
on a six below, that's a failure. Okay. That's
Okay.
after you add everything up. And then there's a mixed success. That's 7 to 9, which means you do what you intend, but not as well, or there's some consequences with it. And then on a complete success, 10 to 12 or higher, if your modifier is amazing, uh, then you usually get to do what you wanted to do plus some extra stuff. And as a good example, when you attack and uh, that, for example, on a 7 plus, you hurt whatever you're trying to hurt. And on a failure, you miss. And on a 10 plus, you get an extra effect, which is kind of neat. And this is something GW was asking me about last night, is that that's kind of like a crit. And you have a selection of 4 things that you could choose to do as an extra effect. You can take the advantage and get +1 forward or give that +1 forward to another hunter. So that means you can
Hmm.
hold that +1 and use it on your next attack, or give it to another person who's about to do something really, really nasty because they have like the one weapon that can really hurt this thing. And so they'll get a +1 on their roll, and maybe they can get a full success as well. Or you could choose to do inflict terrible harm, which is +1 damage with +1 harm. Or you can choose to suffer 1 less harm. You can -1 to harm, or you can force them where you want them. So if it's like a vampire and you guys have set up this ring of like UV lights, you can kind of hit them and shove them and they'll go in that ring of lights. Solo's character Riley clicks the button and, and that's a great move. Um, when you do attacks in this game, you're always going to be exchanging damage. Well, almost always. So that's why I don't roll. So if you come up and you're going to punch the Yeti and you get a hit, you do 2 harm, it's going to react and also slash you for whatever harm it has. And so that's how I do those things. Now, on a failure with an attack, you miss, something else might happen, and the Yeti gets to attack you. Okay. So that's one of the most important things about this game is that if you try to just roll in and be a tank and just whack everything, you're going to get hurt real fast, real bad. And so it's not meant like that. So you have all of these other options available to you in Monster of the Week when dealing with the monster or its minions, other than just hitting it and fighting it. You can help out. You can try to maneuver it. You can try to do some other things to deal with this stuff. And also, too, you don't always take harm from the monster when you attack. There are certain situations where if your last attack kills it, or it wouldn't be able to then in turn deal harm to you, or maybe it only has close range attacks or area burst attacks, and Solo's Riley is up on the building next to it with a sniper rifle and he's hitting it. Well, it doesn't have a range attack, so it can't go after you.
Do I have a sniper rifle?
I don't know. Do you?
He said it. He
No,
said
no.
I was on the roof with a sniper rifle.
I said if.
He said if.
I should if. Thank you, GW. But I think,
good try. It was a good
Damn
try.
it, Q! Shut your mouth, Q!
It's already starting. But actually, I think that's one of the options you could take in your equipment on Riley's character sheet on the playbook. So you want to take a look at that?
You get a sniper rifle?
Not a sniper
Yeah.
rifle. I have a.
He has a shotty.
I have. It's
okay.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I
So-
have a shotgun.
There you
I have
go.
a hunting rifle.
Hunting rifle
I
would
don't
do
know
it. Yeah.
why.
I
So-
got one
and
of
there will
those.
be opportunities for you guys to buy and get more gear, both mundane and magical, throughout the course of the series. Now, the other thing that I will say, and GW, you're going to help me with this, is you guys may have noticed I did not say the move where you attack someone. GW, what is that move called?
Oh, kick ass, kick some ass.
Right. Now, as many of you may have noticed, I don't curse. And so that's one of those rules. So I'm probably just going to say kick some butt. And it's funny, it's hilarious, but that's just why, and so on and so forth. You guys want to say the words, no problem.
And that's why we
just
love
me.
you.
We love you too.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Yeah, so kick some butt, you have all those options. Then the other two that I want to kind of point out on your reference sheet, there's things like investigate a mystery and read a bad situation. And so these are some moves that'll happen a lot. With investigate a mystery, this is when you're like, you're investigating the scene of a crime, or you're investigating where someone was almost killed, where you're like, your character's looking around, you're like, hey, I want to go check out, where the body was, where the police have kind of marked it in chalk. I'd be like, all right, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking to see if I smell anything. Like I'm looking to is there a musty smell, or do I smell like something acrid or acidic? I'm like, that's a good question. Why don't you investigate a mystery? And you'll roll, and on a 7 to 9, a mixed success, you can hold 1, and on a full success, you can. But where is it? Hold 2. And you'll see that that's a plus sharp move. And so what that means is you have 1 or 2 questions that you can hold on to ask at any time. And those questions are listed there. So what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? Or what is being concealed here?
Riley, pay attention. This is for you. This
I'm
is your
reading
specialty.
as he's talking. Shut your face, Q.
Ow.
That's what I want to do.
So
I'm literally reading the questions as he's talking. I'm a visual learner there, buddy.
Yeah, no, good. I'm glad.
How do you?
So what's important here, though, is you want to ask a question, and these questions can mean a lot of different things, right? And they're contextual, and so don't feel like you have to really be constrained by these things. They're more like guidelines, but these are the questions that you will ask. And if the situation you're in can't be answered by the question you're asking, you might want to choose a different question. So in the scenario that we just presented, let's say that Diane is down there with her vampire character sniffing. Yes, hello?
Oh no, I was gonna let you finish your thought.
Okay, so she might say, what sort of creature is it? I'm like, all right, great. So based on the smell, you can smell that there is something kind of acidic here, and you notice that there's some it looks like a little pool of liquid or something, and as you touch it, it kind of sizzles, and you think that this thing might have some kind of acidic saliva or something. And then she says, okay, well, I have a second question. What sort what can it do? He said, well, you think that perhaps that its bite might actually decay things and erode flesh. And based on your previous experience, you think it might be a chupacabra. Right. Okay. Now,
I quit. I'm done. They're real.
I swear
What?
I've seen one before, guys. swear, I
It's gonna
swear,
be
I
so good.
swear.
Now, if she had asked instead, what was it going to do? That might be a little harder based on the situation. Now, as if you guys are walking into an abandoned saloon, looking to see what's going on in this old ghost town, and Q kind of says, "What's being concealed here?" He That's not about a monster. That's just you're investigating this place. I might say, oh well, as you get closer to the bar, you notice that the mirror that's behind the bar, usually where the bartender would stand, you can see that some of the silvering backing is kind of flecked off, and there's some cracks. And as you start to look and move, you can see this is a two-way mirror. There might be a room back there, right?
There's
So
always a room back there.
exactly. Or he might ask, where did it go? And in this context, it means, where did all the people go? It's like, well, you know from your contact that place was abandoned about 30 years ago when the uranium mine was played out. And people have not really lived here much, at least in the last 5 years when the state condemned it. But you're noticing that there's some cups on the bar and they don't have cobwebs or uh, dust on them. They look relatively new, right? So you see how those are contextual.
Yeah.
They're not just about the monster solo.
Are we doing the advanced stuff?
So the advanced moves you can't do until you take that advanced move on your playbook. And we'll talk about that in a second. So
Like
that's basically as you get to
like
a
in the
higher
invested,
level.
so I can't. Even if you rolled a 12
Mm-hmm.
on investigative mystery, that doesn't apply
Right.
until you take
Basically, you have a chance as you level up your character to take advanced moves. And if you chose to take the advanced investigative mystery move on a 12 plus, you're opened up to these new options, this new tier
Got it.
of questions open up to you.
Got it.
Now, the other one that's going to happen a lot is read a bad situation. And again, this is a plus sharp roll, but on a 10 plus, you can hold 3. And on a mixed success, you can hold 1. And these are things where you're not just looking around, you're acting in a bad situation, right? And so the questions here are, what's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? And the victims in this case might be you. And so here is when this is a great way to act in combat. That's not just kick some butt, where Q is up there just wailing on this Yeti with his magic hammer, and and Suki is in the back with her hunting rifle ready to go, and she's like, "Wait, are we being ambushed here? What's going on?" I'm like, "Read a bad situation." She used to hold 1. She's like, are there any dangers we haven't noticed? And I'm like, there actually is. You see that the Yeti is actually starting to position Q closer and closer to the edge, and you think he might be trying to push him right off that ledge. And you're like, oh, okay. And so I'm going to shout out, "Hey, watch out behind you." And he looks and he sees.
Wait, let it happen.
Yeah.
Let it happen.
He'll be fine. This will be hilarious.
I'm very concerned that there's a Yeti in Albuquerque.
I know.
Okay, so I keep using the Yeti example because there's not Yetis in Albuquerque.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
why is
that-
Elscon here? I'm very concerned.
I mean, there's no vampires in Albuquerque either.
Well, there's one.
Yeah, but there's
Yes,
a reason
sir.
why
There
I'm
was.
there. There's a reason why I'm there.
This single,
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say this now.
unload.
I keep joking about there's no vampires in Albuquerque. I think that maybe Suki would know this, that there was one nest back in the 70s, and after it got cleared out, there hasn't been any more because it's really hard for them to get across the Southwest because of all the sunshine and stuff. And there's over 300 days of sunshine in Albuquerque year long, and it's just like it's a bad scene for vampires, and particularly because of our elevation. There's more UV rays than normal, and it's particularly bad for vampires. And so it's just the wrong climate. And so I kind of like the show House, where they're like, maybe it's lupus, and they're like, it's not lupus. It's never lupus. Maybe it's vampires. It's not vampires, guys.
Never vampires.
That's the perfect disguise.
I mean, in real life, exactly. That's the perfect place to hide where people wouldn't think you'd be
Mhm.
there.
All right. So that's read a bad situation, investigate a mystery. Then there's manipulate someone. Usually you would only do this to NPCs. You can do it to hunters, and there's some rules in there, your fellow players. And you can't manipulate a monster unless you have a special rule that specifically allows you to manipulate a monster. There's protect someone, help out, and act under pressure, which is really great. And so those sometimes go really well with investigate a mystery and read a bad situation, where act under pressure is you're like the doing in combat or a doing in a bad situation. Like maybe a building's on fire and you're trying to, like what's the best way to protect the victim's role, and you're like, oh, they're up there on the 3rd floor, I got to get up there, and you're like, all right, act under pressure, to see how well you get up and navigate this building you've never been in before while it's burning and crumbling down around you. And so those are the kind of ones that you'll be using the most often. And that's what that hold means you can hold on to that that question. Because like if you get a question from a investigative mystery or read a bad situation, you may not want to use them all right then and wait and hold on to one until, Q or Diane does something which opens up kind of like more information. Then you're like, all right, I want to use my last hold. What's being concealed here? And in this case, it means what's being concealed here with this witness that Q just started talking to, and you're like, oh, okay, he really wants to leave, and you think it's not because he's nervous, but because he is he's maybe seen something he doesn't want to talk about. Go ahead, Q.
How long are we able to hold a hold, and how many holds can we have at one time?
So you can hold a hold as long as the context that granted it to you is still in play. So if you guys are investigating the scene of a murder, once you leave that scenario, you lost that hold. But if you're in a library doing research, as long as you guys are there doing research into things, you could still hold on to that. And unless there's some new big information that's going to call for another role that's appropriate, you could only hold what that move granted you, right? And if you had to do a new role, I would say that probably gets rid of the old roles because now you're in a new context. Yeah.
So if we're in a murder scene and we do the mystery investigation thing, are we only allowed to do that once for that scene?
Again, it'll be contextual. So most likely, unless something new or different happens, it would probably just be the one role. Now, here's the other thing I want to say about these roles is on the 6 below, that's a failure. And what you have to understand is failures are good. Not only in the general life sense where we learn through failure, your characters actually mark experience because of failure. Anytime you get a failure, a 6 below, you mark experience on your sheet. I would recommend pencil. And once you get to 5 experience, you level up. And when you level up right then. Not end of session, right then. And you can look then on probably the 2nd or 3rd page of your playbook, and you'll see a place where you can take new moves or you can take improvements, and you can do that right then. So for instance, Diane, did you name your character Katina? How do you say it? Katia. Oh, Katia. Perfect. So if Katia, this is an example I gave her before, is that if she's acting under pressure to run across this catwalk and she gets a 6 and she slips and she falls, and that marked her experience, she can look over at her playbook and take a new monstrous move. She can mark that in and go, oh, I can take fly. She can mark that right
I
then.
was literally just looking at flight. I was
and
like,
yes! And in the story, you'll see her fall, and she like puts her arms out, and like 2 inches above the ground, she's like floating, and she's like, sick. I didn't know I could do that, and flies back up to the catwalk.
Or Riley slips and falls and is tired of hearing Q and just hits that retire button, and I'm just gonna sit down. You guys go on. Yeah. I'm done.
All done.
Yeah.
Stop whining, Riley.
Now, what I do want to point out about this is that I'm going to go over to the Divine Playbook just because we've got Q here. So when you look at your improvements, right? You've got, he could do a +1 tough, cool, charm, sharp, weird, take another divine move, gain a lesser divine being as an ally sent from above to help with your mission. I love that one. Take a move from another playbook, which is awesome. So he could take a monstrous move, fly. And of course, I would ask that everyone, have it make sense as to why that might happen. But here's the thing. Once you mark that little checkbox, it stays marked in and is no longer available to you. That's why take another move is there twice. And take another move from someone else's playbook is, I think, there twice. Let me see. Yeah. But once you level up 5 times, you can then get advanced improvements. And again, those are all one time. And you can, to Solo's question earlier, under the Divine IC, mark 2 of the basic moves as advanced. And now that opens up your advanced questions or moves inside the basic moves. Right? So you can do all that. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is luck. So all of you have 7 points of luck. And you can spend luck at any time to do one of 2 things, if I recall correctly. And luck basically lets you decrease a wound you have just suffered to 0 harm, or after you roll and you're like, I really need this to succeed, you can automatically turn it into a 12, which is a full success. Here's the thing about luck. Once you've used it, you've used it. That's it. You don't get it back at the short rest. You don't get it back at the end of the session. You don't get it back at the end of the game. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's only one way I'm aware of to get luck back, and that's in one of the advanced moves where you can get 1 point back. And again, once you've chosen that move's gone. So luck is a limited lifetime resource that you can't ever get back, or rarely get back. Once you have used up all of your luck, you're considered doomed. And so remember how I talked about if you get a 6 below on a roll, that means something bad's going to happen to you. That's called a hard move by the keeper. When you're out of luck completely and you're doomed, I can take hard moves on you whenever I feel like it.
Yikes.
You just have bad luck and just bad stuff's going to happen to you.
Just rude.
Isn't it though?
What if we like it though?
Then you and I should talk. I think
We
you
have
need
a
counseling.
masochist in
Masochist in our midst, I see.
It's like the Luther Anger translator with actual Barack Obama, who's like, sir, you need a translator. You need counseling. I love those guys so much. Right. And then the only thing we haven't really talked about is big magic. And none of you actually are magical characters. Although what I would rule is simply this, is that if you have at least a +1 to weird, you have the capability of learning magic. And you'll have to
+3.
There you go.
I don't know why I chose this line, but I
Yeah.
did. I'm
Well,
going with it.
I think because you have that that unholy strength or whatever it's called, the monstrous strength, I think.
Do I?
Or you have that as an option in your playbook.
Unholy strength.
Unholy
yeah, so
strength.
I could totally take that.
Yeah,
at
so
some point.
read us what unholy strength does.
Unholy strength is roll a plus weird instead of a plus tough when you kick some ass.
There you go. So
Nice.
it's them.
Which is nice because I only have a +1 on my tough.
Exactly. Yes, Bridget.
I have something called the big whammy. I can use my powers to kick some butt, roll weird instead of tough. Is that like basically the same thing?
Yes. So
Like,
that's a
okay.
special attack move you could do instead of the typical, like I'm going to shoot my shotgun or rifle or whatever, where you're basically using your innate psychic powers, as it were, to
so it's
deal
like
psychic damage. Yes. And so that's a great move for you, where you get to do that and not have to be, you know, a beefy girl to do a kick some butt move. You can actually use your big whammy. And so if everyone wants to learn how to use magic, there might be opportunities in the game or contacts you get where you could say, hey, I kind of feel like I want to learn how to do some basic spells. You have a book I could buy or something, or something you teach me. And then I start to let you use some of these use magic rolls. But as it sits right now, none of you guys have any playbooks that really are obviously magical. I think maybe Bridget's character Suki might be the closest, or maybe Q. But so that role right now isn't something that you're going to use often unless you as a character choose to pursue that. And the other thing that I kind of told Riley and Q early on is that there's not a lot of really great ways to heal harm in this game. And so, I'll link that full playbook for you.
Be nice to me and Ryan. We'll take care of you.
Yeah. So there are some things. So Q took a move where he can heal. Do you want to read that move to us there, GW?
Yeah. So I believe it is called Healing Hands.
Yeah, kind of
Lay
like a
on hands,
paladin's.
like a
Yeah.
paladin.
Yeah, there you go.
Your touch can heal injuries and disease. When you lay on hands on someone hurt, roll plus cool. On a 10 plus, heal 2 harm or an illness, plus they're stabilized. On a 7 to 9, you can heal a harm or illness, and that's it. And then on a 10 plus, you can take, oh, and I can also take it into myself. So 10 plus, but you can take into yourself on a miss, your aura causes them extra harm. So I gotta be careful.
Right.
Ay caramba. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Risky
on a full
healing.
success, he heals 2. On a mixed success, he heals it, but he takes it instead. He transfers it. On a miss, he takes extra harm. And I mean, the person, the subject takes extra harm. Yeah. Now,
That's
also,
so-
Riley, he has like a base, which is in the back of his auto body shop. And sorry.
Fuck.
I mean, I already knew that, but
Yeah,
Nobody
and
knows.
he actually has like a med place where he can go and people could heal and things between instances or between sessions and stuff. Now there are I would also allow people to purchase or have a first aid kit, which I would say has basically 2 uses that can heal 1 harm each. Or you could use them both at once to heal 2 harm, but that's a limited resource you have to go out and get, and it would have to make sense for your character to have it, right? Like,
would I have that based on where I work? Would I have like some
that's a great
healing
question.
based on where I work?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. Suki
Okay.
might have a first aid kit back at the car.
In my car, yeah.
Yeah. Riley might, make a go bag from his HQ. Q might kind of go, I'm good. I got the Lord. So Q, do you want to share what GW what your mom said when you talked to her? I think
Yeah.
that's so delightful.
So I was talking to my mom, who's Baptist Christian, about Q and my ideas for him because he's kind of like he's a divine, he's kind of like part angel, and I was kind of like just going into like what he can do and some things I was thinking about, and she was like, "Oh, baby, that's nice. You always was an angel." I was just like,
Aw.
That's so sweet.
Isn't it the cutest thing ever? It's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
So I love that it's mom approved.
Endorsed by mom.
And
Love
then so unstable means when you pass that threshold, I think it's a 4 harm. Once you take 4 harm or more, you are unstable, which means that
there's a little line in the
which means you might
boxes,
need to
so-
act under pressure to do things that used to be easy, or you might do something and take another harm because like you've
I am
aggravated the
reckless.
wound.
I
Yeah.
am reckless.
Now,
Oh,
now
no.
the other thing that'll help you not to take quite so much harm is armor. So I think that Katya, I think you have some natural armor in your playbook, maybe under the monstrous.
Under
It's
my moves, or
under your moves. Yeah, I think it's the first or second one actually, if I remember. Right.
well, yeah. So I took the immortal, so I
There
do
you
not
go.
age or sicken, and whenever I suffer harm, I suffer 1 less than I
Right.
would.
And
usually.
then I think Kivan has something as well in his divine. I think that let me see, where is it? Yeah, and he also has plus a divine armor, plus 1 1 holy armor that he can make it look however he wants. So if I say the Yeti deals you 2 harm, then he'll just mark 1 harm instead, because same thing for Katya. Now there might be some things where I'll say 2 harm, ignore armor, because say it's psychic damage. I think actually Suki, does your big whammy ignore armor?
I believe so. The attack does 2 harm, close, obvious, ignore armor. Yeah.
Right, because it's psychic.
Now, would my immortal ability still negate that? Because it doesn't say
It doesn't
anything
say
about
yeah,
armor.
it doesn't say that it's armor. It says that you just suffer one less harm no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great workaround.
Yes.
You just beefy.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think that's kind of it for the basic rules. Let me look at my notes to make sure there's anything else I wanted to kind of make sure to remind you guys of. Yeah, basically just remember this list of abilities, they're not there to hem you in, but to give you ideas to represent um, clues and represent ideas of what you can do. And it's, again, this is a squishy game, not really a crunchy game, and so there's a lot of like narrative and contextual wiggle room for a lot of things. The other thing too is Monster of the Week typically has people not declare their moves but declare their intention. So Q is when you want to attack the Yeti, you're not going to say, I'm going to kick some butt. You're say, I'm going to mess them up. I'm like, great, roll kick some butt. Or like our scene before with the chalk outline where the body used to be in the alleyways, is like, I want to go check out that outline. Great. What do you want to do? Well, I'm looking to see if I can figure out recreate the scene in my mind of the sequence of events. Great, investigate a mystery. And you'll roll, then the natural question would be to ask, what happened here? So you're telling me your intention, not what you're doing.
So that's similar to how I DM, right? Because I don't have you guys tell me, can I roll an investigation check or whatever? Like you narratively tell me what you want. Yeah, okay.
Which when I read that, I was like, oh, good. These people are pretty familiar with this. So yeah. The one of the other tips in the rules says that you don't always have to do the best thing. Do the thing your hunter would do, or at least the fun thing, or the bad idea, which reminded me of a great quote from Firefly, which is, if you can't do something smart, do something right. So again, that's all about the role play.
So we're going to get into like a warm up or practice session, or is this actually like canon leveling up, meeting up?
So what I'm going to do, this will be like a practice session that is semi-canonical, and it'll be taking place kind of after you guys have already met each other. And I will have you be marking experience, tracking luck, and all that, because in the course of this run through, you might level up, and I want you to feel what that feels like and take moves. But when we start the game in January with session 1, you'll be starting back to 0, just like your playbook is right now. So if you spend luck during this session, you haven't spent luck in the future. Although
go ham.
Don't go ham. Because you'll never level up if you always succeed, right, Roddy? So but I may in some future points say that, okay, now remember what happened with the session 0? Those events have transpired. And so I might, if someone went ham on luck, I might go, oh, and by the way, I need you to take one more luck point off your sheet. Thanks.
Ooh.
So this is a little loosey goosey. I'm not trying to threaten nobody. I'm just saying that this is
flat out.
This is semi-contextual.
I'm gonna change his name back to Carl. That's it.
Yeah. we already know his fate.
I'm scared to use luck.
Yeah, don't. Actually, I would encourage each of you to use luck at one point in this session, just to kind of have that mechanic get used. I'm not
that epic moment.
Yeah, and again, like with Dungeons and Dragons, the way it's supposed to be with player DM relationships, I'm on your side. I'm here to tell a great story. I'm a fan of the hunters. I just like putting you in interesting and dangerous situations. So I'm like a terrible uncle.
Jason, I feel safe when you're here.
Let me see what I can do to change that.
Oh wait, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that.
I'm safe.
I'm in danger.
My god.
That would be a great move for somebody. I'm in danger. There's actually a mundane playbook, like Xander from Buffy. No special powers, and like if they get captured by a monster, they mark experience. if they rush into danger, heedless of the consequences, they mark experience. It's like
It's so funny.
it's the greatest playbook alive. It's so good.
So it's like you like it's almost set up like you want to get kidnapped. Like, oh, I'm gonna level up soon.
Yeah, exactly. And like they
Wow.
can manipulate people as like with an automatic success, I think, as long as they just tell them the truth. Like, hey, you kids got to get out of here. There's someone back there killing people, and you got to run now. And it's true. They just didn't say it was a vampire. And so they're like,
I always gotta be a
believe you.
vampire.
I mean, we just saying. We just saying.
They just didn't say it was a were chupacabra. So
Wow.
all right, yeah. And let me just make a note real quick. Sorry.
I swear, chupacabras are real, y'all.
They are.
Real. I've seen one.
There's
So
truth to
scary.
everything. There's truth to everything.
Yeah.
Here.
And so one of the reasons to jump off of that I set this game in modern day-ish Albuquerque is because Albuquerque has just such a buck wild history that everything we're going to be doing is more or less true. I have to change so little to make it appropriate for Monster of the Week. I can't even tell you guys. You'll just have to wait and see. And at end of session stuff, you can ask me, hey, how much of that was real? And I'll tell you.
Like, all of
And
it.
you'll see like the one, maybe two things I changed, and you're like, wait, what? So
crazy.
yeah,
I'm
it's
excited.
so good. So
That means we can Google the answers, guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
Don't be a Carl, Riley.
So let's do this.
Blood facials. Blood facials were a
Blood
thing
facials,
a few years ago, I think.
Yeah, is that with bath
Albuquerque.
salts?
Well,
You
that
are
was in Florida, I
yeah,
think.
you
right?
are in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So let's do this.
I am.
Let's go around and everyone introduce their characters, and you can explain a little bit of history as much as you want. You can explain kind of like the kind of concept behind your playbook, and maybe even some of the moves that you have, so that we all kind of know what's going on. Suki, actually, do you want to go first, Bridget?
Sure. So I'm playing Suki. Her real name is Susanna, but no one ever calls her Susanna. Suki Buchanan. And she used to be an artist and activist back east in like the 1960s. And then unfortunately, she had a very traumatic event, which was a terrible car wreck. She was driving the car and it killed her husband. And now she has taken the car, redone it, packed everything up, moved to New Mexico, just to totally get away, have a real nice life in the desert. She is an adjunct professor at the University of New Mexico for art and sculpture. And she lives in an old sort of desolate, but not really not out in the middle of the desert, but like kind of at the edge of town, kind of an old clapboard house that's all painted with pinks and oranges and yellows, and she calls it Sunset House. And she also just happens
That's
to see
strange.
ghosts all the time, and she's always been able to talk to them. They stop by, Jim Bowie comes by on Thursday afternoons for lunch. It's really nice to see him. I have to make sure he leaves his ghost knife at the door because he gets stabby with Davy Crockett every single time. So she sees ghosts, she talks to ghosts, but unfortunately, she's always looking for her husband, but she can't find him. He's never come to see her.
So sad.
But yeah, but she's sort of a looks wise, she's sort of like a slim, tall beanpole of a woman. She's like 5'8". She always kind of dresses a little like a cowboy. And she has like one of those tan, like flat top brim hats that she wears all the time that like sort of has a tie here. Flannel shirt, blue jeans, big old pair of red cowboy boots. And she
I had
also,
a pair of red cowboy boots when I was a little girl.
I have always wanted a pair of red
with a
cowboy
matching
boots.
red cowboy hat. I had a pink
Jesse.
set and a white set as well, but
That's really sweet. Well, I grew up in the north, so they were just like Doc Martens for you. And but she also has yeah, me too. She has black and gray tattoos all up and down her arms, and they sort of spread over into her chest. But her favorite one is a perfect replica of the Hanged Man tarot card on her right bicep. That's her fave. Yeah, she's just sort of a brusque sort of woman driving around in a Mustang. I'm gonna hang on. I forgot the actual
It's a 69 maroon Mustang 2-door.
Yeah.
Is there any other Mustang? Come on.
No.
She pretty.
No, right? It's gorgeous.
Real pretty.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
She real pretty. But the one rule is if you get into her Mustang, you clip your goddamn seatbelt or we're going nowhere. So yeah.
They have seatbelts?
That's what I asked. That's what I asked.
She made sure, and the rest, she made sure.
I don't think that they were like standard.
Well, in
at
69, I think they were. I think
Were they standard?
few
Yeah.
years before that.
Not
they
like for
had
like
some-
62.
I can confirm 69 Mustangs do have seatbelts.
Yeah, but I'm saying, were they standard? Like they could have been like.
I
an
think
Yeah,
add-on.
I think
special.
they were, but I think also Suki would absolutely make sure they're seatbelts.
Yeah, when you see the love of your life go through a windshield, like
Sure.
everybody makes sure that they have seatbelts.
1968,
In this car?
they become standard.
Did it happen in this car?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No.
I took it to the shop and I got it redone, and it's
that makes
this
sense.
car.
Car shop?
1968.
your shop.
1968, seatbelts became standard.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Bridget, how old is Suki, do you think?
Oh, she's about 65, 70 years old.
Perfect.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh, she has gunmetal gray hair, and it has a big white streak at the front, and she always wears it kind of at that, like with a little roll bun at the nape.
That's a very important detail.
That's
It
that's
is.
called
She's
that's
old.
called a chingnon.
Oh, all right. Yeah, one of those.
Nice. Right?
Yeah.
Very good. All right,
Okay.
Katia, do you want to go next and explain your character a little bit?
Sure. Katia Rose. That's not her given name, but that's the name she chose because she's like a New York City socialite, spending her nights in the club. She was born in Yonkers, New York, but she quickly moved to Manhattan as soon as she could because Yonkers is it's not that nice.
Yeah.
It's Yonkers.
Tried so hard not to do that.
Yonkers are great.
She spent her nights in the club and spent her days sleeping in and as late as she could. It's like the opposite of me. The way she looks, so she's a small, petite girl, sleek, dark hair, blue eyes. Doesn't look like me, but I tend to make my characters look a little bit like me at least. Not 5'8". We'll say she's 5'4". We'll give her some more
crazy.
height than
Okay,
me.
crazy.
Get
We'll
nuts
say
now.
she's
Whoa,
5'4".
now. I mean, there's fantasy, then there's fantasy. Yeah.
5'4" is a fantasy for me, sir. You've seen how short I am.
Yeah, I saw the
bet
heels
you.
on the. I see the heels in those boots. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'2", y'all.
Oh.
So 5'4" is how tall Katya is, but she's usually wearing heels, so you know she gets that height on there as well. She met a very dashing man at a club, very charismatic, made her feel special. He fed on her twice. And at this point, she realized that this was not the path to go down. Some vampire hunters started sniffing around the city, and she effed out and fled. So she fled from the city down the East Coast, not really finding a good spot to stay, went west, and ended up in Albuquerque because she couldn't find anyone like herself and thought, this is the right place to stay. With that, she found a job in a morgue at the Presbyterian Hospital, otherwise known as Pres. She isn't sunlight sensitive to the point where it hurts her, but she doesn't like the sun that much, so she stays at the night shift. She actually rents a room at a very nice artist's place where there are some ghosts. She hasn't seen the ghosts, but she's heard about the ghosts. There's a room that she's not supposed to go into because it's someone's room, but she's never seen this tenant. But yeah, that's Katya Rose.
Excellent.
She usually wears a big wide-rimmed hat whenever she goes outside during the day with big glasses that are very dark.
Like those Jackie O glasses?
Yeah. Jackie O glasses for sure. She's very stylish, very stylish. She still keeps that New York style. So she looks kind of out of place in Albuquerque.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've had many friends who've come from New York who came here to live for a while, and they're just like, oh, you guys are so behind.
Yeah. She's always wearing black. She's always wearing heels, very slick clothing.
Yeah.
Not down with the Southwestern style.
Katya is the monstrous playbook. She is basically half vampire. She's not all the way converted. And so that should be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. I also like that the Southerner is playing a Northerner and then the Northerner is playing a Southerner.
Well, here's a fun thing. My dad's side of the family are all from Yonkers, New York.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that because they're all Italians, right?
They're all, they're Italians. They're mafia Italians.
Yep, I remember that conversation. All right.
Hey, forget about it.
Yeah. She's all like, all my family are Italian mafia from the old days. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Did you know my father-in-law's dad was killed by Italian mafia in the 1920s? Anyway. And we're like, we're not going to try to connect those dots. That can get weird quick. No.
That's better left unanswered. That's just
all right. GW, you want to share a little bit about Q?
Sure. So my name is Quavon. My friends call me Q. If anyone else calls me Q outside my friends, it's a problem. Never call me Q unless we're friends. I am the only child. My parents weren't ever able to have kids before me. But somehow it was a miracle, they say. I've always had an imaginary friend when I was younger. But as I grew up older, I found out that it wasn't so much imaginary at all. It was actually something a lot more. And at the age of 15 is when I was called to do the duty that I was born for. So there's been a span of 4 or 5 years now, solid training. Even though I did it by myself in, different kind of dump yards and stuff like that, everything always came really easy for me. It was like I was just born to fight. And I found this ability that I have. It's kind of, I can manipulate light to be almost anything I want. An axe, a whip, chains, a sword, anything I want. And I've been using this gift once I hit around 18, going hunting on my own. I was hunting before then, but around 18 is when I got really ballsy. I can do anything. I can't be touched. And that's when I stumbled across Riley. I've been a part of a lot of different, I won't call them groups. We've just kind of happened to be on the same hunting path at any given time. I've seen a lot of people die from really dumb decisions, so I've learned to trust me, myself, and I alone. Because no one else is as strong or as smart as I am. Well, at least until I met Riley. Riley's smart. I don't have to worry about him dying in the field. And he actually protected me once in an interesting way. That kind of bonded us.
Of my life. I'm kidding. What?
That actually made my outlook change on people and connections within the hunting community. And ever since then, I've been hunting with them, whether it was surprise or not. And I also have uh, a mentality kind of that I'm very stubborn. I'm headstrong. I'm confident. Some would say overconfident. And I seem to not like to protect others. I seem to only focus on my own survival, and of course now Riley's. Um, and that's it. The way I look is I am an African American young man. I kind of have my sides shaved and like on top are my dreads that kind of fall in different ways. Sometimes I have them up, sometimes I have them down. It depends. I usually wear this kind of orange and this purple and orange like cap or hat that kind of like just hangs off the top of my head. When I go hunting, you normally see me kind of decked out in purple and accents of orange. It's just kind of my tag, I guess. And my eyes are hazel, light hazel, almost orange themselves. And anytime you see me use my powers, you always see this very subtle kind of aura of gold light around my head. It doesn't really matter where I move. It always seems to be behind my head in some way when you look on me. And the weapons I make are all made out of gold light. So it's almost as if they're an extension of my own soul that kind of comes out and forms to my liking. And that's Q.
Very good. All right, Riley.
Riley's a little congested today. I'm gonna see if I can do my voice maybe later. uh, Riley's late 30s. Works at it's an auto shop, right?
Yeah, and you own it.
I own this auto shop. It was handed down to me from my old mentor. I've been hunting monsters for a really long time. You look at me if I'm in public. I wear like almost like a robe or like a duster that kind of covers most of my body. And if you see me when we're not in public, I have a long silvered sword on my back that's hidden by the duster. I have a shotgun on one hip and a magnum on the other, also hidden from the public. I don't go in public very often just because of my normal demeanor. I do tend to pull like a mask over my face as well sometimes. And I wear a nice, essentially the artwork that I found that you all saw, that is exactly me. That's things I've been looking for a long time. The only difference is how his hat has all the bullets around his head. Each one is a tooth for every monster that I've killed. So there's over 30 of them just in there all the way around my hat. He's very, yes, he can be intelligent, but he's very off for a lot of reasons. At first, regretted helping Q, but he grew on him after a lot of persistence, and we'll leave it at that. But it used to not just be Q and Riley. They used to have another friend who's no longer with us. May Carl rest in peace. That's all I want to share.
Okay. So,
Cool.
to set the tone, I was going to read a short little short story about you guys that kind of came out of Riley and Q bantering on Discord with my own kind of additions, just to set the tone for you guys, and then we'll set the scene for our little run through here. It's in an empty lot in the downtown area, and Riley and Q are fighting the last remaining ghouls from a nest that they've uncovered. And Riley says, "You call that a swing? I thought you were good at this." Q responds, "Shut up, Riley. You're one to talk. Why don't you focus on shooting straight for once? Why don't you just make a gun? Hey, my divine blade does 3 times the work that your gun does, you old fart. Well, can it drop that ghoul that you let run away? It's 300 feet away now." Starts to aim his rifle up. Kuvon says, "No." Teleports right next to the ghoul, slashes it in half with his one swing, teleports back, but I don't run out of bullets. The scene shifts to see Suki leaning against her car. "You boys about done? We got places to be." Everyone climbs into the car after a brief fight about who gets front seat. Riley wins. Suki cranks the engine. "All right, everyone buckle up. Seems like there's an intersection downtown that's had 4 fatalities in the last 2 days. All of them one-car accidents. Driver's dead, but not from the crash." The car starts to rev. Suki says, "Y'all ever hunted a haunted intersection before?" Q from the back seat, "I didn't even know that was a thing, but I'm down for anything." As the car shifts and moves, light hits the other passenger seat next to Q, and you can see Katya. "I think we had one of those back in New York." Q, "Hey, don't do that. Don't scare her, brother." Riley from the front seat, "See? It's not nice, is it?" Suki, "Hey, it's a weird world. Let's go see just how weird it really is."
Yay.
Go.
So excited.
They do
That is the
tend to
second
scare
time he said I have a
people.
rifle. I'm writing it in my character sheet.
Just switch it out for the shotgun. I'll let you do it. And then I think everyone's seen the video, and then we'll play that. So our scene opens with 2 kind of thuggy looking guys driving around in a late model SUV, all black, and you can see them arguing. "Hey, I'm hungry, man. Let's go get some food." "No, listen, we got to pick up this pickup. Then we'll get some food, I promise, man. Frontier's still open. Don't worry about it." "Hey, why are you taking this way? This ain't how you get there." "Hey, no, it's a shortcut, man. Don't worry about it. This is all good. Don't worry." And the car turns to a downtown street, mostly quiet, not many people walking, a few homeless. And as they approach one intersection, the car revs, and the driver looks down. "Something's wrong with my, why is it doing that? Hey, who's that? Who's that down there? What?" You see a bright light. Both of their eyes go wide, and as the camera pans away, you hear metal twisting. You hear shots, and it's quiet. And the stars twinkle. The moon rises from behind the mountain. This is the Duke City Chronicles. You guys are together in the car, as described before. Suki's driving, and you know that you have gotten a text from a police detective, Suki, who's asked to meet. There are a few people who you have done, let's call them exorcisms, before. And there's a few people who know about the spooky old lady who can get things done. And this detective said that he's heard about you and has a problem that he thinks maybe you can help with, and is agreed to meet you downtown at one of the local bars near the El Rey Theater. As you guys are driving, is there anything you'd like to talk about? You're a couple minutes away from the rendezvous, and it's about midnight. And all 4 of you are in the car.
Did the detective give me his name?
Yes. His name is Silas DeFoya.
Silas DeFoya. Thank you.
Boy,
Spelling mistakes begin.
Mhm.
So, when do you think we'll be getting there?
It's just around the corner. We should be there in like 2-3 minutes.
Cool. Do we know exactly where this Silas is located when we get there, or?
Yeah, he told me the blah 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 bar.
Yeah, he's at the bar next to the El Rey Theater.
Yeah.
This is right on Central Avenue, which is also called Route 66.
Yeah. And is the El Rey the theater?
Is that where you get your kicks?
Yeah. Monster kicks.
Dang it. Monster kicks. Take one harm. No,
All
just
day, All day.
I told you I have no cool.
Zero cool. The funniest vampire in the West.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is the
God.
El Rey Theater the one with the ghost kid that eats donuts? Do I know the El Rey because of that?
You would. The El Rey's been there since the 1920s. It's been
What?
much of different things, and the El Rey does have a ghost that eats donuts. Yes.
Yeah, it was a
That's
little boy who. Yeah,
That's incredible.
there was a little boy who died in a gas explosion. If you don't leave donuts backstage, he will fuck your show
I need to
completely.
go there.
Wow.
Death by donuts? That's not too
Death by
bad,
donuts.
No,
actually.
death by lack of donuts.
That's the
is this-
thing. It's death by neglect more than anything.
At
Some
this
stage
point,
manager is really fat right now, just like
Yeah.
I
I gotta
That's
piece
the
the ghost.
ghost.
I don't know, guys. Yeah.
at this point, I'll kind of put both my legs on the opposite side of like Riley's seat. So like one is like probably on, the drink holder, and the other one's probably on like the right, like arm bar, just so I can stretch out.
Oh my-
Sorry, I've
what
been
are
kind
you
of cramped back here.
doing?
I'm stretching out. I've been cramped back here for a long time. This is a long ride. He doesn't
That
care.
is
It's been 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
idea that maybe Q
Can-
is
you
punking
would
Riley.
you would never be able to last on the New York transit system because I swear you don't get an ounce of room on those things.
And
Nope.
when Katia says that, I look at her. Right. You're from New York. So what brought you all the way out here again? Why would someone from such a big city, the Big Apple, want to come to a place like this?
Just people were looking for people like me, so I left.
I mean, you do know, this place isn't the best place for, vampires, right? Like it's kind of risky you
What-
being
what-
here.
Well, technically, I'm only half vampire because I guess there's a feeding process, and I didn't get all of I didn't do the full feeding process. If that makes sense.
She doesn't have all her credits for her degree.
Gotcha.
Suki is going to reach over and bop Q's shoe. Get your feet off my cup holders. You'll break them off. I swear to God. And Riley charges me double when this shit happens. Gone.
Sorry, jeez. It's just like, you're not even using it. But it's fine. It's fine.
Do
Riley,
they
you
have cup holders in a '69 Mustang?
Riley is just staring out the window at the moment.
Put him
Riley.
in there for me because he's a sweetheart.
Oh, nice.
With my right foot, because she hit my left foot, but my right foot is still on Riley's like kind of armrest. I'm gonna kind of like wiggle my foot to like tap Riley's arm. Riley, what you
Jesus.
thinking? Riley, you all right?
Leave me alone, Q. Damn.
What you looking at?
Just looking.
I look out to where he's looking at.
Yeah, and you can see very orderly blocks of road, buildings that go maybe maximum 6 stories, modern buildings, old buildings, a very hodgepodge. All the roads downtown are set east, west, north, south, very orderly, regular city blocks. It almost reminds you, Katia, of New York, just a little cleaner and way less people. As you're looking out every 10 15 feet, there's a street light shining light down onto the clean sidewalks. You can see a few homeless people pushing shopping carts or like huddling up in empty shop foyers to kind of hang out. And it's summertime, and even though it's blazing hot during the day, during the night it's only in the 70s. And so they're hunkering down, hanging out, and doing whatever they're doing. And you can see that Suki pulls over to one of the parallel parking spots, gets out. The light isn't flashing on the meter because it's turned off. And you can see across the street, there is a bar, glass windows, a little bit of a patio. And you can see the lights are still on. And off to the right, you can see the El Rey Theater with its diagonal marquee saying El Rey and with neon and the list of shows coming up in the next few days and weeks. And you can see a single man drinking a pint of beer inside at one of the tables facing out, waiting for your arrival, it would seem.
So is this bar at the intersection that we're going to be going to, or is it near it?
Yeah, well, it's on Central. You're not really sure where this haunted intersection is that Suki kind of glibly referred to, but apparently this guy does.
Okay.
I can't feel anything spooky at this intersection, can I?
Yeah, I would say this. I would say, what are you looking for? What are you hoping to determine?
I'm just kind of you know how in like ghost movies or like that that show Medium, like she'll just turn around and there'll just be a ghost standing.
Mm-hmm.
And like it'll look like a normal person, except nobody else can see them but me. That's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm kind of just looking for anybody just like standing under a streetlight, pointedly looking at the psychic.
Yeah, I like that. Why don't you roll investigate a mystery?
Yay! First roll.
First roll.
All right, cool. I'm just gonna, and that I use 2 d6s for that, correct?
Mm-hmm. Always 2d6.
Always 2d6, and
Plus sharp.
Plus sharp. So it wasn't a great first roll. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I get +1, so that's actually a 3.
A 3. Okay. Mark experience. That's a failure.
Right.
As you kind of look around, you are kind of trying to open your spooky senses to determine if anything isn't what it seems to be here. And the only thing that really pings is just a vague kind of tingle almost in the back of your mind towards the El Rey Theater. And that's when you recall, like, oh yeah, there's that ghost boy there. Maybe that's him moving around. The theater looks dark tonight. Nothing going on or any shows. As you look around, everything seems pretty mundane. You're just like, okay, this is seems fine. This seems to be what it appears to be. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, let's head in.
So as you guys head in, you can see the man stand and walk up to shake your hand, Suki, and he is he's I would say he's about 5'10", lighter color skin, and he's wearing plain clothes, jeans, nice shoes, black belt, white shirt, and a suit coat. And as he reaches forward to introduce himself, say, "Hi, I'm Silas Tafoya." You can see his coat opens a bit, and there's a badge on his belt, and you can see a hint of a strap on his under the coat against his shirt, which would indicate maybe a shoulder holster for a sidearm. And thanks for coming to see me. You guys want to take a seat? Anybody drinking anything?
Thanks very much, Detective. It's lovely to meet you. I'd love a whiskey just on the rocks if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Anybody else, ma'am?
I'll take the same thing, Suki. Yeah, it sounds like a good way to start this day.
I'll go ahead and get a White Russian. Thank you.
He looks at you and says, "Are you old enough?"
Oh, yeah.
Fine. Ma'am, anything for you?
No, I think I'm all right.
All right.
I am going to make a point that I'm going to sit a little bit away from the Silas guy and always have my eye on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And any other exits in the room.
And this whole front of the bar is all glass, big windows, and it looks like even some of them could roll up to be open air to go out into the patio there near the sidewalk. You have a clear view of everything there on the street. And he raises his hand. The waitress comes over and he relays the orders, and he sits down with you. Right across from you, Suki, and then I suppose Q and Katia are there. Riley picks a chair from an adjacent table where he can kind of get a good view of everything. And he says, "Listen, I got your number from a friend of a friend. Apparently, you had done I don't know, like an exorcism or something for his abuela.
We call it a shuffling along, but you can call it an exorcism if you like.
Yeah, sure. I don't really go in for all that kind of stuff myself. But listen, I've been on the force for about 10 years. I'm part of the Vice unit, and I've seen a lot of weird stuff. But a week ago, my partner, he was killed.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But he and I were working some contacts for some, well, let's just say organized crime in the area. Open investigation. Don't want to get into it too much. But in the last 4 days, or 2 days, 4 of our informants have been killed. And they've all been killed in the same spot. And I wasn't really sure what to make of it, but I talked to one of my contacts. He's a homeless guy. He's a good guy. He just doesn't want to live like everyone else does. Stays clean most of the time. He swears he saw my partner. He swears he saw him shoot them. And it doesn't make sense. David's dead. I went to the funeral. I spoke. But I don't know. If this is his ghost or something, he's killing my informants. If I can't close this case, it's not going to be bad for my career. It's going to be bad for the city. And listen, I love David. Brotherhood of cops and all that, but we didn't always get along.
Doing tight.
But listen, just would you mind looking into it? Would you mind just looking to see if, I don't know, does something need to go, would you say, shuffling along?
Well, it's certainly possible. I mean, it ain't the first, sort of vengeful spirit that's been around. I've seen him do weirder. How did David die exactly?
He the drinks come and he waits. Thanks. He was shot.
By one of the informants, possibly, or
still an ongoing investigation, but it does seem to be a Corner called it execution style.
oh, golly, I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, I think I might have remembered that at the morgue, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe?
I think that's probably fair. It as you're starting to hear this story, you're starting to go, oh yeah, because anytime an officer comes in, it's notable. But
Sure.
You weren't working the night that his body came in.
So I didn't drink his blood. Got it.
You did not drink his blood. No.
His name wasn't Carl, was it?
No, his name's David Gonzalez.
David Gonzalez.
Check all the boxes.
It was one of the nights you had off. Actually,
Sure.
you were out with Suki that night.
Okay.
But
Crunk.
Girls' night.
Getting straight spooky crunk.
yeah, because going out clubbing always works so well for you, Katia.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I met a very handsome, charming man. It was going great for a while.
For a
until I
while.
realized what was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, Silas.
Yes.
You said that your friend David. You said you and him didn't really get along all that much. What issues did you guys have?
I want you to make a roll. I want you to manipulate someone.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't talked about this mechanic yet, but it's a roll plus charm, and it covers everything we would consider from D&D to intimidation, persuasion, that kind of stuff.
Charm is not my thing. Let's see what we can do here.
Can always dominate.
That's the
him.
only reason why I brought you around, Q. I ain't gonna charm no one.
So I got a 7, but my charm is -1, so 6.
6. So I need you to mark experience.
Okay.
Well, listen, that's kind of personal. I'd rather not go into that.
Can I want to gaze into his eyes and lean forward a little bit. I'm like, I want you to tell us exactly why you didn't get along with your partner who is now dead and shooting people as a ghost.
So what move are you using here?
Mental dominion. I want him to tell me.
Mental domination, yes. So when you gaze into a normal human's eyes and exert your will over them, roll plus charm. So go ahead and roll plus charm for me.
Seems to be your MO.
So it is. So 2d6, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Plus your charm.
That'd be an 8.
An 8. So a mixed success. Hold 1. You may spend your hold to give them an order. Regular people will follow your order, whatever it is.
So, yep, tell me.
He has a glossy look go over his eyes and kind of monotone. He says, David didn't like the way I run around with women. He was trying to settle down. He had a girlfriend. We fought about him not wanting to go out with me anymore. He was trying to settle down and change his life. This job can be hard. I resented not having a wingman anymore. And then sorry, what did you say?
As I'm like sipping on my drink, I just look from him to Katia, to him.
And I just give Kuvan a wink.
As you see the glow in her eyes go from red back to normal as it fades out. And he's like,
So we've been together for a little while. So
yeah.
Riley would know the move and know that the guy wouldn't remember that he just sold his
Yeah.
beans. Got it.
They typically don't remember what they just were doing when they come out of it.
Got it. Wish D&D was like that.
Mhm.
No.
Ha!
I know, right?
Riley's gonna get up and kind of go towards the door and just look around. Do I see anything else? Anyone else looking at us? Do I see anything else inside the bar?
You know what? Investigate a mystery.
Investigate
Nice.
a mystery.
I have a question for Silas once Riley is
I
done.
have a question for Jason.
Jesus Christ.
While he rolls, Katia, what's your question for me?
My question for you is, will you tell me when there is a perfect opportunity for me to feed so I have to roll under pressure?
I absolutely will.
Okay. I just didn't want to know. I was thinking, I was like, when is a perfect opportunity? I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out sometimes, but I'm sure you'll tell me too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will let you know for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, Riley.
Oh no, I rolled a 4 plus 2, so that's a
4 plus 2. Go ahead and mark
6.
experience for me.
All right. Everyone get experience today.
You
Failures,
as you
failures,
kind of
failures.
stand up and walk over Riley, you can actually see that there is a homeless guy who's just standing out there and like looking right at you from across the way. And then he unzips his pants and pees on a light pole, never breaking eye contact with you.
Katya, if she saw it, she'd be like, oh, it's just normal.
He smiles and then walks away down the street away from you guys.
I smile back. Like an awkward, like,
That is the most New York thing I've ever heard.
It's
in
the
my
most
entire
New York
life.
thing ever. Yeah.
It happened to me last week. Like, Jesus.
Just staring at you. I've never even lived in New York. I've only gone, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty New York.
You were there
That's the
2
most
days.
New
It happened
York.
4 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look at Silas. So Silas, by chance, because I know that he doesn't remember everything that he just said from the mind thing. So Silas, by chance, David, did he have anyone he loved or anything? Anyone who he cared for?
Yeah, he had a new girlfriend trying to settle down, I guess. I haven't talked to her much. I saw her at the funeral.
Do you know her name?
Yeah, Bernadette.
Bernadette. And you wouldn't happen to know where we could find or contact her by any chance, could you?
I prefer if you left her out of this. She's already lost a lot. I just want you guys to go check out if this contact, what he saw, has any merit whatsoever. Something's going on. And honestly, I just want to close my investigation. And if David's soul, I don't know, is got some unfinished business, then I'd like to see him finish it and move on. His watch is over.
And where exactly is this this intersection where this is happening?
Yeah, it's actually about 12 blocks back east. It's Central and 4th.
Central and 4th.
Part of why I asked you to come tonight is the last car wreck was earlier today. The vehicle still should be there if you guys want to check it out.
We do, definitely.
We do. Another thing is, you said your homeless friend is often around there. What's your homeless friend's name?
Oh, he lives in the area. I haven't seen him tonight, but I mean, you can try and talk to him. Dominic is his name. Usually wears like a gray, like beanie all the time. You can tell him that that I said it was okay to talk to you guys. He might not. He's got his own ideas about things.
Sounds good. Well, I think I got all information I need. I've got everything I need, and I look at everybody else as I just drink.
Yeah, I think that sounds good to me. I think we should head on over and check it out, especially while it's fresh. You know, ghosts are normally kind of confused when shit happens to them. So we might as well head over there and see who we can talk to.
Yep.
Appreciate it. You've got my number. Let me know if you find anything out.
Sounds good. She drains her whiskey.
As I start to walk out of the bar, I'll stop. Now just like look back. Hey, Silas. When you have a good friend, you want to support them, even if it's different than what you do on the regular. And I'll just kind of like walk out.
Appreciate that.
You're the spookiest bunch of people. We're all just like, we know what you're thinking.
Tell me
Yeah.
your dark secrets.
Here's some cryptic stuff
What
for you
do
to think
you
about.
desire?
As you guys walk back to the Mustang, the view stays on Silas, and he like lifts his drink and goes, gutters, and shakes his head, and finishes his drink, sets it on the table, and leaves a few bills and walks out.
I go straight to the front seat, passenger seat.
Ibs.
You know, I think ladies should be sitting in the front seat, don't you?
You seem kind of comfortable back there before.
Just because I was comfortable doesn't mean I don't want to sit in the front seat.
I believe the word is, that's not his accent. I'm tired.
Do you, man?
Riley's a little shaken up from the whiskey. Never mind.
I like the Australian thing you were doing before. That was good.
I'll look at Katya. Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
do it.
So we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right.
Yep.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Boom.
Oh.
Well,
And
that's 2 out of 3.
All right.
That's how
here
we
we
do it in the city. That's how we do it in the city. Come on.
Dear God, children,
All right.
we gotta get to a murder scene. Can we all just please
Let's
get
do it.
into the car?
You know,
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I missed a great opportunity because Jason
Oh.
said I could remove my shotgun and take a sniper rifle. I should have just pulled it out and said shotgun and then said, but
Here we go. Here we go.
Last one.
One more time.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Tie.
Oh,
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Riley's already sitting in the passenger seat.
yeah.
Rock,
Suki's driving
paper,
away.
scissors, shoot.
Yeah. Suki
46.
is in the driver's seat. Car's idling. Riley's standing awkwardly watching this happen, waiting to get in.
I rolled a 5.
5. Yeah, roll it off.
Roll off.
Roll off.
Plus cool.
I rolled a 6.
Plus cool.
two.
Plus cool. I have plus cool. Let me look.
So that's an 8.
My plus cool is +2, 5, 6, 7. All right, you win.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I hop in the front seat and just.
I roll my eyes so hard, and I get in the back next to Riley.
Oh, see the two guys like
That's
scrunched
right.
in the back of this TV
I
car.
will, because I'm fairly short. I'll put the seat up as far as I can. So whoever's sitting behind me will
I'll
have
sit,
a little bit
yeah.
more room for their knees.
Yeah, she has to
Thanks.
pull up all the way, and her feet finally touch the floorboards.
I just
Well,
look
yeah,
at
it's a Mustang, so those cars have a lot more foot room than
Yeah.
modern
Yeah.
cars.
And
as I get in next to Riley, I just like look at him, just like
This is your fault. I'm like 6 feet tall. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like
he's got the knees up by the shoulders.
You brought this on yourself.
Oh, that's great.
Suki, you know that you're down on 12th Street and you want to be on Central and 4th. So that's going to be about 8 blocks behind you. So you'll need to pull a UE to do this.
I do
Yeah.
so.
Okay. And so you pull down there and just a few minutes, you get down there and you can see that there's still some police tape up on the northwest corner of this intersection, and you can see there's a black SUV that's just wrecked. It looks like it hit the front's crushed in, the back is still kind of more or less untouched. Police tape all around it, and it looks abandoned. There's no one else really on this street. Very quiet. There's street lights all around, so it's fairly well lit, and there is a half moon out tonight, and so it's pretty easy to see around, and there's plenty of parking spaces as you pull up to the side and just kind of parallel park there at the meter.
Okay. I'd like to get out and use my sight thingy again. I get to see anything invisible, especially spirits and magical influences.
Okay, so I assume everyone's wanting to kind of like fan out
Yes.
and look
Investigate
around.
a
Yeah,
mystery,
Yeah, let's do
Okay, so
that.
let's everyone do investigate a mystery.
I'm also looking for any guy with like a gray beanie, if there's any living person
Oh,
around
great.
or anything too.
Okay.
Ooh, that's not bad. Plus what? I'm sorry.
It is plus sharp roll.
Got an 11.
11.
Nice. I got a
No-
9.
I got a 9 too.
Okay. 9. Okay. Riley, what'd you get?
5.
5. Mark experience.
Oh.
Getting
Just
no
a-
experience.
Just to make sure, Chris, you are rolling 2d6, right?
Yes, I'm rolling 2d6.
Just making sure. Just making sure.
Oh.
So as you guys are like kind of fanning out, Riley, you're checking out the car, and you can see that this thing's totaled. With your experience working on cars, you can see that it's pretty bad. And I'll start with the highest success first. Suki, you can hold 2. What would you like to know?
Hold 2. Oh God, what does this mean again?
So
Oh,
Q and
I-
Katia, you hold 1, and Suki,
Actually,
you hold 2.
Katia got the 11. I got a 9.
Oh, you got the 9. I'm sorry.
oh right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Katia,
So
you can hold 2.
uh-huh.
Suki can hold 1, and the questions are: what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? Where can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? Some of these are contextual, and some of these don't really make sense for this situation.
Sure.
So
Sure.
if you ask a question, you're like, it's not really appropriate, I'll let you know and let you switch something out.
Okay. So let's go with what happened here.
So you can tell that this car was westbound on Central. And it looks to you that this car slammed into something at high speed. You notice that there is no skid marks whatsoever, like with the brakes were trying to be hit. And it looks like it ran into the light pole, but the whole front is destroyed of the car. The glass is broken out, and you can actually see that there are some chalk outlines on the sidewalk inside the police tape of two bodies. And so you think that they accelerated, hit something, and both were ejected out the front and hit the ground. You have one hold if you want to use it now, or you can wait a little bit.
I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Q. One
Yeah.
hold.
With my one hold, as I look around, I'm gonna try to use my, spiritual eyes and feelings and everything as I look over it. What is concealed here? What is being concealed?
As you're kind of looking and you're standing next to Katya and you're looking around, you notice that the light pole would be the obvious thing nearby for the car to hit, but it's not damaged at all. The car hit something. It's like it was hit, like it hit a deer, right? And deer are ridiculous. They'll wreck a car and then just bound off fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it looks
Sure
like that's
will.
what happened here, but you know that that's not going to happen in downtown. Like that's so it hit something that's not here anymore. And also you're not seeing a lot of like blood on the broken glass, like very little blood. Um, in fact, even in the chalk outline, you're not seeing like a big pool or something. It's like just a little bit to indicate that this probably was where a dead body was, but it's not like a bloody mess. And I will give you also one other thing. You can tell just both your kind of divine senses that something's going on here. That there's a sense of otherworldliness to this spot. Suki, you opened up your kind of senses to see invisible and ghosts and things. What is your question?
Um, I'm not positive if this question actually does like work with it, but I would like to know what kind of creature it is.
As you're kind of looking around and you're kind of like opening your senses as well, is you can you also feel this, like this whole block, this intersection really just reeks, for lack of a better term, of something supernatural. um like it almost feels like a haunted house. Like you've been in some houses that are like known for being haunted and they're like super haunted. Sunset House where you live is one such place, and you're just like, this feels like a haunted house, but like there's no house.
An intersection.
And
Yeah.
you kind of look and you're like, huh, and you step out of the intersection onto just Central and it goes away, and you come back into the intersection and it like flares right back up again. And as you're looking around, you can see that there's somebody watching you. There is a guy wearing well dressed, not a homeless guy. He's wearing slacks, suit coat, kind of dark hair, thick hair, kind of combed back like a pompadour almost, and he's smoking a cigarette at the corner, and he's kind of watching you guys investigate. Riley, as you're looking at the car, you are kind of going around to the other side of it, and as you kind of go around to the other side, there is somebody standing there, and it goes, blah, 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 and you jump back, and like there's this, like, you smell him first. This homeless guy like jumps out like get out of here. It's my spot. Come on, get out. And starts like flailing his hands at you.
I instinctually look over in that direction.
So has everyone been sharing the information they've gathered from their investigations?
I feel
or...
like Katia and Q could have potentially done that. The other two, not so much.
I didn't share. I'm gonna walk over. Like after I hear that yelling, I'm gonna start walking over there. as I look at this man who's kind of like, ah, does he have a gray beanie? Do I feel like this is?
He is wearing a beanie, but in the light, you can't really tell if it's gray or black or like navy blue or something. But he seems to be more just like in like leave me alone mode, like you scared him, Riley.
Yeah.
And he was doing something by the car, but you're not really sure what.
I mean, Q, you see my right hand on my Magnum. I didn't pull it out, but it's
Riley. It's cool. I'm gonna look over to the guy. Are you Dominique? Dominic?
No, I'm not. No, I'm look tracking my name and government satellites. Stop. And he's like starts to walk away now that he sees there's like two of you.
We were sent here by Silas to check this place out.
Sitting here by Satan. And just away, talking to no one.
And as he walks away and yells, I'm gonna like kind of look at Riley. You okay?
yeah.
And I'm gonna kind of just tell him like I'm not gonna kind of whisper, but it's just like I'm talking directly to Riley. So Riley, there's something that's kind of interesting. So this car looks like it hit something pretty big, like a light pole or a deer or something, but look at the light pole. It's perfectly fine. Like nothing touched it. And also there's no blood on the windshield. Like there's no sign of someone kind of dying from impact. And also there's just
Does it look like someone went through the windshield?
Yeah, absolutely. Now that he's pointing it out, you're just like, yeah, I've seen wrecks like this before. It looks like these two guys, because there's two chalk outlines, they hit something and they just went straight through the front of the windshield.
Got it. So where the car is now, the bodies are somewhere away from it?
You can see the chalk outlines probably about a good 6 feet from where the car is now.
Could I use my dark past move?
Mm-hmm.
Have I what is it? Have I ever I think I'm just supposed to roll and then I can ask questions. I think that's how it works.
What is it? You roll plus
plus weird. Which is just a straight roll.
Okay.
Good luck.
It's a 5 and a 6. That's an 11.
Hey,
11. Hey,
welcome to our ranks.
Yeah, on a full success, what do you get to ask, sir?
On a full, I get to ask 2 questions from below. So, okay. When have I like looking through my past, has there been a scenario like this that I've dealt with, or a creature like this?
Yeah. You think back and you're thinking about like things, times where you've seen destruction of physical objects with no obvious physical cause.
Yeah.
And you're thinking back and you're like, okay, you know that poltergeists and some kinds of ghosts can do this, like almost like a kind of telekinetic ability where they can fling stuff around without touching stuff. If it is something like a poltergeist, you think that this would be a particularly powerful one to basically stop a car in its tracks. And even if it was going the speed limit, that'd be a lot of force. And you're looking at the guys, the distance of the bodies and the distance of the car, and like you think they probably weren't going the speed limit.
Can I
did you want to ask another question real quick, Riley? Sorry.
Yeah. Who do I do I know anyone that would be able to help me with poltergeist specifically?
Yeah, you think Suki would probably be a good job for that. You also think that poltergeists can be difficult to get rid of. But you do know a guy in town who sells more mystical things. And so if you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to need, if I determine that I need, a special substance to like, dip my bullets into holy water and be blessed or something, a guy who can get you that stuff.
Got it. Okay.
But you also know Suki is the spooky grandma, and she might be able to give you some more help right away. And I will switch to Suki with that.
I would like to approach my ghosty friend. Evening. How you doing today?
He drops a cigarette, looks at you. What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same thing.
I'm doing my job. Keeping the city safe.
You wouldn't happen to be Detective David Gonzalez by any chance?
You see his eyes like flash. I was.
Your partner sent us to help sort of figure out what's going on around here. It seems like you might have the reputation for shooting some informants on this here intersection. You wouldn't be doing that now, would you?
Silas sent you, and you see his eyes start to glow in like little streams of energy, or like tapering off, and you're noticing that his hair is starting to turn white.
I don't see what she's talking to, of course, but I can hear her talking. The second that she would say, "Would you be David?" All of a sudden, like my hand gets loose, and like this kind of golden light appears, and all of a sudden, like this kind of long chain of light that's kind of like wrapped around my hand appears, and I'm just kind of holding at the ready.
So Q, as you look over there and you hear her having this conversation, you actually do start to see something. Starting with the top of a head, you can start to see the white, and then a face, and then two glowing eyes. And this apparition is slowly manifesting all in white, almost like he's been hit with like flour, but you start to be able to see the rough outline coming in increasingly fidelity as she's having this conversation. And
I just elbow Riley. Right.
And Asuki, you see him starting to, like, for lack of a better term, power up.
And I'm just gonna do the silent sort of like, now hold on, boys, I got this. Like, just wait for a second. We are just talking here after all. Yeah, Silas did send us. He's a little worried about the fact that you ain't corporeal anymore and you're still sticking around. Why? I know that you're protecting the city, but killing informants in an active investigation ain't the way to do it. We put people in jail. We don't put people in the ground.
Those who circumvent the laws of God and man have only one recourse: vengeance. What are you trying to accomplish with this conversation, Suki?
I'm trying to figure out whether or not he did it. I want to figure out whether or not that sort of energy, like if he's just like boldly being like, yeah, I'm killing people at this intersection, in which case I am going to forcibly shuffle him along. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I
act under pressure.
Okay. All right.
Roll plus cool.
Plus cool. Okay, cool.
Cool.
How cool are you?
Cool. Dope. I'm not very cool. I am a little old lady.
You're not little. You're
I'm a tall beanpole of an old lady. Well, I rolled a 10 and I have a -1, so 9.
9, excellent. So I'm going to give you a choice. You can find out the information you're looking for, but he's then going to attack, or you're going to find out the information you're looking for, but then he is going to make things difficult for your whole team, or you can find out what you want, but there's going to be some unintended consequences. What would you like?
I do kind of like a mystery. unintended consequence. Yeah, I'll do that one. Why not?
Unintended consequence.
We're
He's
playing
like,
risky.
okay. So he's in full like ghost form now. His whole body has turned white, the suit coat, the pants, his hair, his eyes, his face, his skin, and he's clearly a ghost. And now everyone else in the intersection can see him, you guys. And he says, I killed them because they were evil. I killed them because they were complicit in my death, and I'm not stopping until I'm done. And that's when you hear an engine rev from down about a block away, and you can see two lights of another car coming, and it is accelerating as he holds a hand out towards that car, looking away from you, and you see it getting closer and closer, faster and faster, and it's bearing down on the entire intersection. Yes, right.
I get my my razor chain of light ready.
How far away is it?
It's about it's about 60 feet away. It's going to be here in just a second.
Pistol shooting a tire.
Excellent.
Hitting the other tire with the. Oh, sorry.
Roll act under pressure, Riley. Suki.
Can I just big whammy it? Like the second I see him start to power up shit,
So are you gonna big whammy the car, or are you big whammying David?
I'm big whammying David. I want to throw off his mojo so he doesn't get to hit the car.
That's a 7.
Katia, she found out what she wanted to find out, but now another car is coming to the intersection. David reaches his hand out to it, and you can hear it accelerating as it's rushing towards the intersection, towards you guys. Riley, what was your roll for act under pressure?
7.
7. Excellent. So you're going to be able to shoot out the tire, but it's either going to careen out of control, or it's going to not stop soon enough and hit you.
I would like to use my chain whip to chain the other tire in the front.
Great. Roll help out. Roll plus cool. We'll get the answer to your question in a second.
I would like to move out of the way of any scariness.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm standing on the corner, right? Because David was on the northwest corner.
Right.
6.
I'd like to walk over there because I feel like David wouldn't let things go that way.
You
He's a ghost,
6?
though. I don't know.
I rolled a 6.
So that is a failure. Mark experience. And on a failure, you're exposing yourself to the same danger as Riley. So Riley, you're going to be able to shoot one of the tires out, but it's either going to careen out of control, or it's going to not stop in time and hit you and Q. Which would you like?
I get to choose?
I'm going to give you a choice between those two options.
Say that one more time then.
So you're able to shoot the tire out, and you hear it burst, and the car starts to swerve, and it's either going to not stop in time and probably tap both you and Q, or it's going to weave wildly out of control.
What a terrible choice.
I'm going to let it tap us. Knowing that Q can do his annoying thing, I'm going to try to get out of the way.
Oh my God, they're going to start bleeding.
So the chain goes whoosh, and hits the other tire, and you can see now that the car stabilizes, and you can see the rubber just start to peel off of the rims. The rims grind into the asphalt, start sparking.
It's not good for rims, y'all.
As it,
I'm going to attempt.
Hold on, let me resolve the action, and it slides into you guys and hits both of you at a fairly low speed, and you'll each take 1 harm and get knocked back about 10 feet as you tumble to the ground.
Can we resolve my whammy?
Over to Suki. Suki, I want you to kick some butt.
Okay. So I rolled a 5, but it's plus weird instead of plus tough. So that's a 7.
A 7, great. So you're able to inflict harm. How much harm does your big whammy do?
Sorry, let me just double check it. 2 harm. Close, obvious, ignore armor.
Great. So you whammy him with your big whammy, your big hit, and that's just like like this ghostly energy just emanates from all around you and slams the ghost of Detective David Gonzalez, into the chest. And it you can see that it affects him like most ghosts you've seen. He takes that and whips on you, and 2 pistols just appear in his hand, ghostly white, and fires right at you. I need you to take 2 harm, ignore armor.
Ouchies.
And you see him like turn to walk as he like just tapers out of the way, and then reappears right in the middle of the intersection, maybe about 10 or 15 feet away from the now stopped car. Q, you had something you wanted to do. I think I knew what it was, but we needed to resolve that action.
Yeah, I was going to attempt to teleport us out, but
Right.
yeah.
And so here's the thing. So when I had you roll help out,
Mhm.
the action you chose was to help with the tires. You
Right.
could have also chosen the other thing, but that's a great instinct. So not a problem. All right. So Katya, I haven't seen you do anything here, so I'm going to say that it's your go here.
I'm just like, I want to go and see the people in the car.
So you're running up to the car? Yeah.
Yeah, that just hit Riley and Kuvan. I want to see the person in the car or the people, if they're okay.
Yeah. So
what's going on with them?
As you run up and look, you can see that there's a guy who's like kind of bleeding from his forehead, seatbelt on, and this guy looks pretty thuggy, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
And he is like sitting up, kind of dazed, and he sees the ghost of David Gonzalez in the intersection, and you can see the guy reaching into his coat to pull something out.
Nope.
I want
to grab his jaw. I want to make him look right into my eyes. You need to leave this space right now. Just run away. I want to use my mental dominion on him.
Roll mental domination.
Ooh. That's a 12 plus 2. That's a 14.
Nice.
Dang.
Very good. So with mental domination, you can hold 3. You can spend your hold to give them an order. So what do you want him to do?
I want him to just leave.
To just like leave? Okay. Yeah. His eyes go glassy and he unbuckles. And which direction do you want him to go?
Back where he came from.
Back the way he came from. Okay. He stands up and starts walking back the way he came from, and you hear a shout from the other side of this echoey yell, "No!" And you see the 2 guns of David as he starts walking forward, and you're seeing these bullets of white fire fly out, and you see one of them go right through the shoulder of the guy that you just dominated. And you see him stumble forward, and as he does, he is just crossed out of the intersection, and you see 2 of the other bullets of holy fire hit an invisible barrier that like lights up as it hits. And you see David stumble, not David, you see the thug stumble, and that damage like shook him out of it. You can feel that your mental domination has slipped. And he turns around and starts looking and sees very clearly freaked out. And David's ghost whips on you and aims towards you. What would everyone like to do?
I'm gonna jump up, kind of like shake Riley to make sure he's good, and then I'm gonna try to whip David from where I am.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Roll kick some butt.
All right. Wish me luck. Oh, that's not bad. So that's gonna be this is gonna be plus cool, I think. No, tough. This is plus tough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's gonna be 9, 10, 11 total.
11 total. Oh, great. That is a full success. You can choose one extra effect. You can take the advantage. You can inflict terrible harm, suffer less harm, or force them where you want them.
I want terrible harm.
Excellent. So
Yay.
how much damage or how much harm are you talking now?
So I do 3. Let me 1 second. Let me look at the chain. So I do 3 harm, area, messy, holy. So I guess that goes to 6 harm.
So 3, so you'll inflict 1 extra harm, so that's 4.
4. Okay. Gotcha.
Wow.
Excellent.
And also, because I have the smite ability. Any creature that I hit with my weapons of light, they have a weakness to my weapons.
Right. So you notice that even though he seems to be incorporeal and your chain whips out, you see it wrap around him. And he seems constrained by it for a moment, and like that holy energy is off of it. And you see him writhing, like screams out in pain. As you pull, it turns him around, and he just reaches out with the handgun and fires. And you take 2 harm, ignore armor. But Q, actually, it doesn't ignore armor for you, so you take 1 harm total.
Oh yeah, because of my gotcha.
And you feel like this bullet, it's not physical, it feels like he shot your soul.
Wow.
Oh.
This is like spiritual damage of a kind.
Jeez.
Who else wants to, what else are you guys doing?
With my experience fighting poltergeists, do I know what weapons actually work against them?
Yes, magic will work. Also, you would know that that typically salt is a good way to deal with ghosts.
Got it.
With varying degrees of success. And I'm telling you this because of your previous roles with success there.
Okay, I don't imagine I would have salt on me.
No, I don't. Act under pressure.
Salt packets in your pocket.
Yeah. Did you remember to pack this? Is the question we're answering now.
Act under pressure. That is a 6, and it's cocked, and a 2. So that's plus cool, only kind of cool. So that's a 8, 9.
A 9, a mixed success. So you didn't remember to bring salt with you when you left the workshop, but after talking to Silas, you realized you might be, something's all haunty and spooky. You actually had pocketed the salt shaker from the table at the bar.
Got it.
And so you have it, and you know you could use it. So you're going to either need to, if you're going to try to use this against it, you can either throw it at it and hoping that when it lands, it'll break and burst, or you can take a round to unscrew it and then fling straight salt on this ghost.
How far away is the creature from me?
You could easily like get within like 5 feet of it, so that it'll be close
Got
enough.
it.
Yeah, mobility is not the issue here.
So it would be, I mean, if I throw it, there's a risk it would just kind of go everywhere, right? So,
or it might not shatter if you throw the whole container.
I'd like to do something mildly inappropriate. I'm gonna get a nice big mouthful of saliva. I'm gonna pull out my sword and I'm going to lick the side of the blade and then pour salt on the blade.
Act it out. You have to act it out.
No, not all the salt. Not all the salt, but
We're all
like a
waiting.
good amount of the
So
salt.
you're just like,
kind of.
yeah, it's like a margarita sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I like that. I think no problem. And so that's what you're doing
Strange.
this round. And Q looks over just like, what?
Really? Right now?
Yeah. Anyone else want to do anything, Suki?
I
you haven't
would
done
like
something
to
in a while.
hide behind one of the vehicles.
Yeah, you can
Smart cuts, yeah.
absolutely kind of like run around behind the newly wrecked car.
Yeah.
And I want you to roll under pressure. Suki, what do you want to do?
I think I can do whammies multiple times, right?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely
Okay.
right. If you want to kick some butt, you can do that big whammy.
I would like to continue to kick all of the butt.
Okay.
I got a
let's do it.
7 on my
A
under
7?
pressure roll.
Great. So you're able to hide there behind that car. But when you get back there, you also notice that there is a smell of gas leaking from under this car.
Fuck. Okay.
Suki, how'd you do?
I got an 8.
An 8, a mixed success. Great. So you're going to be doing 2 harm.
Yes, sir.
Great. So you do the big whammy and you do 2 harm, and you see it almost like a tidal wave of energy coming out from your head. And as it hits the ghost of David Garcia, you can see that it starts to disintegrate him, and he's fighting against it, and then and he disappears. But Suki, that feeling of a haunted intersection, a haunted house, it doesn't go away.
All right.
And you can't see David.
I'm gonna shout to my comrades. This ain't over. He ain't gone.
Can I move away from this
Oh, absolutely.
potentially inferno bomb situation?
Yeah.
And as I run away, I'm like, this there's gas. This could blow up if we shoot this. And I'm looking at Riley. I'm looking at Riley when I say this specifically.
Are you telling me to shoot this?
I'm telling you not to shoot it.
Don't
at
shoot
all.
it! Don't
It's
shoot
gonna
it!
blow up. Well, I mean, it could work in our favor, I guess. But
Storyteller.
Maybe not.
Yes. Keeper,
Yes.
yes.
Sorry, keeper.
It's all right.
Does my chain of light go limp once this
Yes.
creature disintegrates?
Go limp.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, falls to the
was
ground.
like, yeah,
Oh.
he kind of had it like wrapped around him, like kind of like pumping energy into it.
Sorry, my
And,
mind went somewhere else.
Crazy. And once the ghost of David Garcia like disintegrates, apparates, the chain falls to the ground, and you can recover it. And you still get that kind of sense that this is a weird space that you kind of had noticed before. And you're kind of like looking around to see what's like if he's going to show back up. What do you guys?
I'm gonna pull back my chain, and it's gonna kind of like whine in the air as I grab it, and then I'm gonna kind of like take it and like just, and it's gonna transform into a glaive of golden light now.
Nice. Kind of
And I'm just gonna
pole arm.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna kind of be on standby. I want to walk to the middle of the intersection.
Great. Okay. Katya.
I have a question.
Yes.
What type of, and it's gonna lead somewhere for endgame. It's not just. It's partly for my curiosity. What type of Ford is it? Is it a coupe, fastback, or a convertible?
The Mustang?
Yeah.
It is not a convertible. It's 2-door, and so it's
Send a
not
picture.
convertible, not a halfback. Yeah, there's a picture I can show
Like
you.
a coupe then?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay.
I will get that picture for you while we continue. This.
Okay, I was just curious. And where is the car located in conjunction to the
it's,
intersection? Is it within the force field?
No, it's not. It's on Central on
Okay.
the southwest corner of the intersection. The previously damaged car is on the northwest intersection. The north of the intersections where the newly damaged car is kind of adjacent to the old car, and David had been standing right in the middle when he disappeared.
Okay. All right, so then what I had in mind doesn't work, but now I know.
Suki, what do we need to do to get rid of the spirit for good?
I would know that. I'm not sure how to do it. Would I just be able salt? From my experience with poltergeists before, do I know any more than salt and magic?
Roll read a bad situation.
All right. So to read a bad situation, I'm sorry, that's plus what?
Roll a bad situation is going to be plus sharp.
Plus sharp. Okay, cool.
And I added a picture of the car for you.
Oh, so it is a fastback.
Yeah, fastback, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah. So that
Beautiful
is a
car.
9.
A 9. Excellent. So that means you can hold 1. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat here? What's most vulnerable to me? What is the best way to protect the victims?
I think I am going to say, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Are there any dangers you haven't noticed?
Like, would
Yes.
I know?
As you're looking around trying to figure out where he is, and you're really kind of like fine tuning your kind of like spooky vision, TM. And you notice that there is actually another concentration of spiritual energy here in this intersection, and it is quite close to where you first encountered David at the southeast corner, kind of right under almost one of the light poles, and it's on the ground, and you can tell there's like just like a like as you kind of really focus in, there's like a thrumming of energy right there.
Is it in any sort of, I don't know if this is a question that I can ask. Is it in any sort of like recognizable shape, or is it just kind of like a whoa?
I am going to say that it seems to be just like a ball of energy just below the surface of the street, of the sidewalk.
Okay.
And you think that it might be able to be interacted with or something done with it, but you don't think that this is him. This is something else as part of this.
Okay. Can I go investigate it? I want to go to try to interact with it, see if it's friendly.
Yeah, sure. Let's have you roll investigative mystery. What's everyone else doing while she does that? Oh, you asked about the car, actually, Katia. What was your follow-up with that?
Yeah. That's it. What I had in mind wasn't gonna work with it being like outside of the zone, I guess. But I guess I'll just follow along with Suki.
Okay.
Stay near her since she this is more her realm, so
Okay.
stay near her.
I got an 8.
An 8. Great. You can ask. You can hold 1 on mixed success. What happened here? What sort of creature is it, or sort of thing is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? What is being concealed here?
What kind of creature is it?
You think that this might be, for lack of a better term, a nexus of spiritual energy. And you've only seen something like this maybe one other time. And you think if you were able to add some energy to it, you might get it to do something.
Okay.
Fellas?
I'm standing there in the middle of the intersection, kind of like with my glaive of golden light at the ready, just like looking around. I'm looking at Riley to make sure he's okay.
Okay.
And did both of the thugs run away or just one of them?
Just one of them. Let's do this.
Was there another one?
There's only one guy in the car.
Okay.
I thought you said there were 2, but yeah.
2 headlights is what I
2.
said.
Got it.
I think that's what I said.
Roll the tape back.
This. Riley, give me a investigative mystery, and Q, give me a read a bad situation.
All right.
Son
Wish
of-
me luck.
You have your own
Ooh.
Got a 5.
A 5 for investigative mystery. Okay.
So for me, read a bad situation is cool, is it?
Mark experience. Read bad situation is plus sharp unless you have a power that says otherwise.
Riley's gonna level up at some
Pity
point.
points is what it is.
So I got a 10 total.
10 total. Excellent. You can ask 3 questions. Best way in, best way out. Any dangers you haven't noticed? Biggest threat? What's vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims?
I am going to ask. I can only ask 1, or can I ask 2?
You can hold 3, sir.
Oh,
You got a 10 plus,
great.
right?
Yes, I did. All right. So let's see. Let me just read it back. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, well, everything's vulnerable to me. What is the? Okay, what's the best way to protect the victims, my friends?
Okay. As you're looking around and you see Riley watching to see like where this thug goes, you see the thug is like just he's taken off. He's just like ran as fast as he can. Q, as you kind of look to see what he's doing, because as your instinct to protect Riley or to see how he's doing, you can start to see the outline of David's form start to take form right behind Riley, and he does not see him.
All right, so that was one good question to ask. Okay, that one. I'm making note of that. Put a pin in that. Next question I am going to ask you is I just in case for everyone else. I know some people know about like salt and some other things. So for this this ghostly creature that can go down and come back and go down and come back up, I'm going to ask what wait, where is it? Okay, what's it most vulnerable to me? Wait, no, what's most vulnerable to
Sure,
me?
I get what you're trying to ask. That question's always tripped me up as well.
Okay.
Is you get the vibe that he's not just a ghost, he's set on revenge.
Okay.
And you think that one of the vulnerabilities that a ghost like this has is like, the old trope of, a ghost is sticking around because of unfinished business. It's that, but cranked to 11. And the label on that dial at 11 says revenge or
Understood.
vengeance.
So putting a pin in that. Last and final question. I do know that we are in some kind of spiritual force field. For him, at least, I think maybe he's like trapped here, and we can like go and everything. My third question will be, what is? You know what? I think I might have to hold on to that last one because I'm not seeing a good
Sure.
question.
You could
So I think I'll hold.
yeah.
So now that I have that information, I'm going to yell out, "Riley, behind you!" to give him a warning, since I can see David's forming behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And for that last bit of information about the revenge, I will keep that knowledge as of now.
Okay, great. Riley, I think you're the one who needs to act as soon as possible here.
Okay, so would I assume that it's this spectral cop behind me?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
that's what you guys are trying to deal with right now.
What was
Makes
that
so much
old
sense.
saying when like you do something wrong, you throw salt over your shoulder?
Yes, for good luck.
Put salt in the devil's eyes.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I'm
Over
gonna.
that shoulder.
I'd like to do two things if you'd let me, as like a
Mhm.
simultaneous action. I want to take the sword that I'm holding that I finished doing the salt on, and just stab behind me, and then throw the salt over my shoulder for good luck.
Oh, I love that. Let's do this.
I have
love
never
that.
heard this before.
That's amazing.
I've heard the salt over your shoulder for good luck, not
Yeah.
in the devil's eyes.
If you spill salt, you
it's
have
an
to
old
put it
Irish
over your
man, that's
shoulder.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's kick some butt.
Yay.
Okay.
And
Some
I will give
salt.
you a +1 to this roll
Oh,
All right.
because of the
Uh,
salt over the shoulder.
okay. So it's just a normal roll plus tough.
+1.
That
Plus your
is
tough.
6. So that's a 10 plus 1 is 11 plus your 1 is 12.
Nice. A full
Hey.
success. You can take do extra effect. You can gain the advantage or give the advantage to someone else. Inflict terrible harm, suffer less harm, or force them where you want them.
I would say terrible harm.
Terrible harm. Great. How much harm does your sword do?
2.
2. So he's going to do 3 harm to him, and you turn just in time to look at the effect, and the salt goes over over your shoulder. You see David put his hand up as it's forming, and then you see his torso form around the blade you've put back, and he staggers back, and he is actually going to stagger back and stop like suddenly and just resolutely look at you, eyes flaring with that energy like floating out, gun right in your face, pow.
Oh.
And you're going to take 2 harm, ignore armor, as you feel this holy energy, this spiritual energy rip through your, like, just your psyche. And you'll take 2 harm.
I want to do something.
1 second, Suki, you had some new information, and I wanted to see what you're going to do with that.
Yeah, I want to, since I've encountered this before, I would know how to interact with it, basically. Can I go up to it and put the energy in it? I just kind of want to, like, talk to it and be like, hey, baby, do you know what's going on right now? I think you could help us out, couldn't you?
It's starting to thrum, and I'm going to say, because of previous experience and because it's you know that you need to, like, kickstart whatever this is.
Okay.
So any kind of energy should do it, whether that's electricity, kinetic energy,
Yeah.
something like that. And you don't think that your big whammy is the right play there. You don't think that's going to do it. That's more disrupting than anything.
Would kinetic energy mean, can I pick it up and kind of shake it and give
Like,
it a...
if you, like, went back to your car and, like, grabbed, like, a tire iron and just beat the sidewalk here, that would do it, because it's, like, just under the sidewalk.
It's just under the sidewalk.
Right.
Okay.
Or you could have, well,
Could I have my hunting rifle with me.
Mm-hmm.
Could I shoot the sidewalk?
Absolutely. Act under pressure.
And can I do that as well with my shotgun?
Yes. Roll help out.
I want to shoot something.
Cassie, roll help out.
Okay.
Help out plus cool. Both
plus
are both cool.
I'm not cool, guys.
Plus cool.
Yeah.
While
Riley?
they're rolling this, Jason, question, because I'm at 3 harm.
I'm rolling really good.
So
guys.
am I considered dying when I get 4?
No, you're considered unstable when you get to 4. So you're still in the I can shake it off if I take a second.
Well, there are like 4 boxes in the dying category. So
No, that's in the unstable category. Dying is at the other end of it. So you're still stable if you're 3 harm. Once you cross that, when you hit that 4th harm, that's when you're unstable and things get interesting.
Now, what's the box next to the unstable then? Do I just check that?
Once you hit 4 harm, hit unstable. Yeah.
Got it. So then there's 4 unstables before you're dying.
You're dying. Something really needs to happen. Yes.
I got a 10.
I'm fine.
A
Nice.
10. Great.
I got an 8 again. I have only rolled 8s. Well, I rolled a 9 minus 1 for my not cool.
Great. So her +1 gets you up to a 9. Yeah, I think that's going to work. As you hit it, you guys both you see her pull out her rifle, cock it, and Katya, you're like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. You pull it out, and you guys both go boom, and the whole spot there, now even you, Katya, can see it glows, and this, like, this doorway, this ornate glowing doorway of light just opens up, and you can just feel, like, the heat and energy pouring off of it. Katya, you can feel it, like, in your psyche, in your soul. Suki,
I still have a soul, you guys.
So she says. Suki, you actually think you hear faint, like, singing coming from this door. But the explosion is so large that it knocks both of you back and down onto your butts, and so you're both, like, laying on the ground. I'll give you guys a choice: either take 1 harm or have your weapons knocked out of your hand when you land.
I don't mind losing my weapon.
Katya?
I'll take 1 harm.
Okay, mark it.
But I do take 1 less harm when I take harm.
Oh, look at you. Okay, good job. All right, I'll remember that. Excellent. So you go down. Katya hits hard, but is okay. Suki, you hear your rifle skitter off a bit as you land. And you guys get up to your elbows. You can kind of see that there is this glowing doorway, probably 20 feet high, 10 feet wide, just barely in the bounds of this intersection, just radiating energy and power. That thrumming is still going on. Look over at Q and Riley, and they're facing off against this spirit. And you guys see David shoot Riley in the head. Riley wheels back, but he seems to be okay. You actually don't see there's any marks on him or blood like
Okay.
you would expect, or like just, you know, Riley all over, bits of Riley all over the sidewalk. And you see Q and Riley facing off against this specter, this spirit. Q, Riley, what do you guys want to do?
All right. So the first thing
Can
I
I
want
shout real quick?
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Suki,
sorry.
real quick.
I just want to go, get him through the door! And then that'll be that.
Get him through the door. All right. When I hear that, after I yell out Riley and I hear what she's saying, I am going to like this warm aura kind of goes over my head of golden light, and like these kind of elaborate looking golden wings kind of unfurl from behind me. I'm going to do one giant flap, and as I do, I'm going to try to teleport right in front of Riley. I want to interpose myself between Riley and the thing.
Excellent. And so with angel wings, you can go any place that you can clearly see, have been before, or to a person you know very well. And so there's no role required for this. You're just suddenly like interposed between the two of them. Do you want to say anything cool when you appear?
I'm going to look back at Riley. I got you, man. I got you. I'm going to look back and kind of like, you know, have my
Glaive.
glaive at the ready as I kind of like my golden wings start to kind of like furl back as the teleportation ends. And I'm going to say, look, you're leaving here whether you like it or not. You're going through that door. Do you want to do this the easy way or the hard way?
Normally, I wouldn't have you roll manipulate someone for a monster, but I'm going to have you do it now.
Way to tell him our plan. Good job.
I mean, it was obvious.
I shouted exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
Technically, I told him the plan.
And this is going to be plus
Roll-
cool, was
roll
it?
Plus charm.
Plus charm, gotcha. Oh, that's not the best. Wish me luck.
The line was cool.
The line was cool.
It's a
So
good
that
line.
was 6 minus 1, so 5.
5. Okay. On a failure, I am going to say that he actually you see him almost energize even more, and you can kind of feel this heat come from him, and he says, vengeance will be mine. And he is going to step away, almost like he's trying to run, but he faces away from you guys and puts his hand out to the west, kind of over where Suki's car is parked, but not at the car, but rather down the way you guys came. And you see his hand pull out like he did before, and he's concentrating on something.
Since he kind of stepped away, opportunity attack? I don't know.
Well, Riley hasn't done anything. Why don't you do something, Riley?
Okay.
So Q is in front of me, and this guy steps away to go do something. What is he looking at?
I'll say that he kind of like almost like turns to mist, and like he's walking almost, but in mist form, and solidifies again. And he seems to be concentrating down Central Avenue to the west, back the way you guys came. And he's got his hand out, concentrating on something.
I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna shoot him with my magnum
Excellent.
in the face.
Get him.
Do I use silver bullets all the time? Do silver bullets do anything to spectrals?
Not that you're aware of.
Just normal shoot then.
Kick some
With
butt.
my gun. Kick some butt. He said kick some butt. Well, that's a 6.
Get him, Riley.
It's plus tough.
Yep. You should be good.
7.
7.
8. Oh, no, sorry.
The bullet fires true. You fired him. It goes right through him, and he appears to not even notice.
Well, that's just rude.
It is rude.
Offensive,
And
even.
he looks back at you, Riley, and he says, I'll have vengeance on the one who killed me. You cannot stop my goals.
Well, who killed you then, Sally?
He looks at you. His eyes flash one time. He goes, Silas. And he turns back towards down Central.
I knew it.
Oh, shit.
I knew it.
Oh my gosh.
Whoops.
And at that moment, you can see 2 headlights in the distance, and you can hear the distant roaring of an engine. All right.
Okay.
The initiative is yours, as it were. You see You see the ghost of Detective David Gonzalez reaching out. You hear the car winding in the distance, approaching your position. You hear the engine revving and his hand outstretched.
Is that me or is that who?
Anyway,
Damn it, I'm muted.
everyone's kind of done different things, so whoever
Okay.
wants to go can go.
I want to pull out my sniper rifle so I can see who's in the car.
Yeah, it's Silas, and he looks panicked, like he perhaps doesn't have control of the car.
I have telepathy. Does that work on monsters?
You what?
I have telepathy.
Wow.
She's a spooky grandma.
I'm a spooky grandma.
I think in this case, I would
She
say
calls
that
me
in
down
this
to breakfast.
case it would, because he is mostly spirit and mind. I think
Mm-hmm.
in this case I would let you do that. Is there a role with that, or you just can do it? I know you can just do it, but there might be some roles involved.
Right. I can read people's thoughts and put words into their mind. This allows you to investigate a mystery, read a bad situation without actually needing to talk. You can also manipulate someone without speaking. You still roll moves as normal, except people will not expect the weirdness of your mental communication.
Okay.
So I
what are you
guess this would
trying
be-
to? Yeah, what are you trying to accomplish? To speak to him, to hear what he's thinking, to manipulate. What do you want to do?
I want to like reach out to him and be like, you know, we know that Silas wronged you. If you tell us what happened, we will make sure that he will be punished. But this is not the way.
You get, instead of words, you get a mental flash, and you see a dark alley, and you feel panicked. You feel sad, angry, and under an undercurrent of all of that, of loss, of sadness. And from behind you, you hear Silas's voice saying, "Why couldn't you have taken the deal like everybody else? This is going to make us rich. It's a shame Bernadette's going to have to never know what it's like to live with a man like you." And you hear a gunshot, and it goes dark, and you're back in the intersection.
Oh, David, I'm so sorry.
You see David kind of like look down and kind of look at you over his shoulder, and you see the eyes calm for a moment. And he looks at you, and you swear he looks almost sad for a moment. And then the eyes flare up again, and he looks back towards the intersection, and the car's quite close now. You can clearly see it's a charger of some kind, perhaps an undercover police car.
I'm going to take a shot.
Do it.
I'm going to shoot Silas in the right shoulder. Place it in a place where he can't lift his right arm, because I know his holster was in his left side, which means he's right-handed.
Exactly. Roll kick some butt.
It's a 6 and a 3, which is a 9. And what's butt?
Tough.
Tough, which is a 1. So 10.
10. Yes. So I'm going to assume the extra effect you're taking is to force them where you want them. Basically, you're calling the shot kind of idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you see, you thread that needle perfectly. It hits him right in the shoulder, kind of right below the collarbone, and you see him like wince, and the car swerve a bit, and then click back into place almost, like it's on rails. And the right side is kind of like leaning now, and he's trying. You see him through the scope, just desperately trying to get the wheel to turn, and it won't turn.
Second shot to like the engine somewhere where you see in the movies where they shoot the engine and then it just starts to slow down and stop.
Great.
That would be the second shot.
Act under pressure.
Act under pressure. It's a 5 and a 5, and that's cool. How cool am I? I'm not that cool, but that's an 11.
That's still an 11, so that's a full success. And so you hear the engine, like you hear something kind of explode inside the engine, and you hear it die instantly. And the car slows, but now it looks like as if the car is still creeping forward, like it's rolling downhill almost.
Yeah.
As Silas, as the specter is like pulling it still with his hand, like gritting his.
I just wanted to slow it down a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly. And what else you guys want to do?
I'm gonna talk out to. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Could I talk to David? Like, can I stand up and be like, David, I saw what Silas did to you. You must know the deal that he was talking about. If you tell us the deal, we will make sure that Silas goes to jail forever. Honestly, the cops hate nothing more than a crooked cop, and you can get your vengeance, but this ain't the way, darling. It ain't the way. Tell us, and we can do it for you. That's literally what I do.
Roll manipulate someone.
Okay. All right, that's plus cool.
Yes, plus charm.
Plus charm. Okay. I don't think I'm very charming.
While she's doing that, Q, what were you thinking about?
I was actually gonna say the same thing. I was gonna be like, I know what he did to you, but this isn't the way. This isn't the way, David. And I was, as I'm saying that, I was going to lop off or attempt to lop off the arm that he's trying to summon the card with.
Okay, I want you to roll help out. What was your roll, Suki? 10?
Woo! Crit! Sorry.
Oh, boxcars? You got 12?
Yes.
Excellent.
Plus stuff.
He lowers his arm just before the glaive can cut it off, Q. But his attention now is on Suki, and he like mist form almost like walking right in front of you, and he says, I suppose there's more than one way for vengeance. In my apartment, under the bed, second board from the wall. Everything you need to convict him.
You did the right thing, David. And now, because you did the right thing, darling, you can walk right through that door, and it'll be nice and peaceful for you, I promise. If you had kept doing what you were doing, you would have been stuck here forever, just twisted up with all that hate and revenge. But now you get to move on.
Know that my task is done. There will always be a spirit of vengeance. There was one before me. There'll be one after me.
And we'll make sure that he gets untwisted too. You want me to tell Bernadette anything?
Tell her that I love her. Tell her that vengeance and anger will only steal from her. I have no reward after this. Vengeance is my only one. She can have something more than that. And he puts his hand on your shoulder, and you feel like almost like burning through your chest and upper arm. And he says, thank you. And he walks past you to the door, takes one last look. The guns, he lets go of them, and they just vanish in energy. And he walks through the door, and it blinks out of the existence. And Q and Suki, that sense you had of this place being something special, it disappears. The car comes to a stop, almost parallel to the Mustang, and you can see Silas in there, kind of bleeding, holding his arm, his shoulder, and breathing heavy.
I'm going to close my sniper rifle, put it back in my thing, and run up and try to help him out. Well, I don't know what happened. Are you okay? Let me put some pressure on this. We got to stop the bleeding.
you guys are able to, in the next day, search David's apartment. You find the floorboard, and it's a dossier with pictures, surveillance images, meeting times, even some pictures of bank records. And it seems that Silas wasn't trying to stop this criminal activity, but was rather being paid off by them. And you think there's enough there if you turn it over to the police that he will have his day in court, and it's pretty damning evidence for sure. And that is where we will end this session 0 that I've called The Wronged. Congratulations. Now, normally at the end of a session, there are a couple of after session questions that, depending on how you answer them, there are actually ways for you to get more experience after the end. It's things like, did you learn something new about the world? Which I think you absolutely did.
Yes.
That there are spirits of vengeance that are bound to this world until their job is done. Did you save someone from certain death or worse? Which I think that you, I think you saved that thug.
Yeah,
from
the
certain
thug.
death. Yeah.
Saved the thug.
Well,
The question
and
isn't.
Silas.
Yeah,
And Silas.
that's true.
Technically, we killed him. We didn't get him killed.
Yeah, that's true. And others. And so you would be able to mark 2 more experience because of those questions to your sheet. Now, you're not going to do that now because it's over and we're not counting this for the thing. But I think that would have leveled Riley for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I was 1 away.
Yeah.
Is it
I
5 or
didn't
6?
mark
Five.
anything. I didn't
Five.
mark any experience. I didn't mark any harm. Oh.
Right on.
Nice.
So I'll give you the Albuquerque trivia for the end of this, that this intersection of Central and 4th is unique because Central Avenue is Route 66, one of the oldest highways in the country. It used to, before the 30s, go down from Santa Fe on what is now 4th Street. This intersection is truly the intersection of Route 66 and Route 66. This is a nexus, the only street that I'm aware of that does this. And so this spirit came to this nexus, and that was where he enacted his vengeance.
That's cool.
Very cool.
I like
Very
it a
cool.
lot.
I like it.
There we go. So that's Monster of the Week.
This
Hope
is
you
so
guys
fun.
figured out your stuff, got to see how the rules work. As I was telling GW earlier, there's no initiative really or turns because everything that happens is in response to what you guys do. So there's no like ganging up. There's no loss of action economy really. So even if someone's like, I don't know what to do, GW, go again. It's okay. It's more narrative that everyone gets kind of like their moments and things.
Right.
And hopefully you guys got to see kind of how some of the questions work and acting under pressure.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And I made complications based on failed rolls, like the gas you smelled, Diane. I think Riley had failed a roll, and so Silas
failed almost all the rolls.
Yeah, decided to pull Silas's car to the
dice.
intersection to enact his vengeance, since he could see this wasn't going to go well. You guys getting thrown to the ground after you had a mixed success getting the portal open, that kind of stuff. So some of those things happened because of your guys' rolls. And you absolutely could have banished him to that portal had you gone differently, and he would have had unfinished business, but no longer able to act on it. So some different things could have happened. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got a happy ending, kind of.
Me too.
Yeah. Justice was done. Spirit was quelled. You let a thug go, but okay.
What was
We'll
I gonna
find
do?
him.
Just feed on him?
Yeah.
I
So
couldn't.
in my mind, Katia, the clear opportunities is when you've taken damage.
When
or
I've
someone,
taken damage,
yeah,
or when
someone
someone's
close
taken.
by is openly bleeding or is unconscious and unable to protect themselves.
Yeah, that's
Get away
why
from
like
me.
when they
Get away
got
from me.
hit by it, when they got hit by a car, I was like, oh god, are they bleeding?
I'm
Oh
bleeding.
no.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. I
exactly.
took shooty
No one's
As-
bleeding.
No, but when
and-
you guys
Yeah,
got
we
when
got
you guys
spirit
got
bullets.
hit by the
Oh.
car
Mhm.
at the beginning, and you
Mhm.
both took
You could
harm,
drop up
I
blood.
would assume you were bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, they got more tapped. It was more blunt force trauma, but
And Q would have, like, when Riley went over to kind of help the guy.
Mhm.
I probably would have went over there too and like put a hand on his shoulder to heal him up, because I know he got banged up pretty bad and got shot in the face.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rough
Oof.
life.
I thought that was like a 2-harmer for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, ooh,
Gotta keep that one alive.
Exactly.
that's not good. We need his auto shop.
Yeah, for reals. So at some point in time, I'll tell you guys that the events of tonight have happened. But so far, this hasn't happened, nor have you guys met. And we'll do all that in the first session. Any questions
Fun.
or things where you're like, oh, actually, I want to change my playbook a little bit because I didn't understand how this or this worked. This is this intervening 2 weeks or so between now and the first game is a great time to do that. I'm always available on Discord. But yeah, any other questions or comments or things you want to say?
No,
Super
I'm
fun.
just
I don't. Yeah,
really
I feel like
excited.
yeah,
Cool.
I feel like I got a really good understanding of everything after.
Good.
This.
Can I have some sort of tracking devices?
What are you thinking about?
I don't know. Like when I went to go hold his wound, my mind went to that I put a tracking device inside his wound so we could find out where he is.
I
So
like
then when
that.
I mean, I'm just trying to think how Riley would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the expert, you have the workshop. You have a space for building and repairing guns, cars, and other gadgets. How long a repair or construction will take, and if you need extra supplies or help. I think that is that would be a sharp roll, and you could actually go ahead and make that now. You could roll plus sharp and see if what you could build.
It's
What'd
the
you get?
first time you've rolled like anything good.
Is it double
Anything
sixes?
good? Is it double sixes? Please let it be.
6 and 6.
Yeah.
Hey,
Confirmation.
crackers for Riley.
We all get one today.
Yes.
You said sharp, so that's a 12, or that's a
Yeah.
14.
14. You're able to make 3 trackers using leftover pieces from a tile. Those Bluetooth passive trackers you can put on your keys or whatever, and you can use them to on your phone to figure out the general vicinity of something, and then once you're closer, zero in on it. And
Like it.
you have
All
them on
jokes
little
aside,
sticky
this is
pads
super
you can put
creepy,
on
but
things.
I've talked about this before about making like jewelry for children.
Mhm.
So
No,
then, yeah, so
that
like
also has like the
they-
GPS stuff on it,
yeah, so if your kids ever get snatched, you know exactly where they are.
or they're not where they're supposed to be. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bridget.
That's a good one. I did have a question about how like we're all meeting in session 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like even though like Katya, like will Katya be coming to my house to rent the room?
So I would say that Katya has already rented the room, has been there for a few months, and
Right. So I just don't know if she's a vampire or like
you know something's up because not a lot of people come to you without it being usually linked to this secret world.
And I only come out at night.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm always wearing sunglasses and a big hat.
Yeah, you don't
probably
want to
smell kind of weird.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to pry, but your grandma senses are going.
You always call me down for breakfast, but I don't eat anything.
Yeah. Now, instead of
Just sit.
Katya, I would also say too, in my mind, like Katya can totally eat food and drink things if she wants, but it doesn't do anything for her.
But
You know what I mean?
it's like, well, and here's the thing, right? I'm a socialite, so if I don't have to eat, like I don't feel like I would, because she's like, am I gonna gain weight from this? I don't know. Like it's just I don't
because of your
I don't want to take the chance.
right, and I would say because of your timeless whatever, like your thing where you don't age and stuff, like even when you cut your hair within a couple of hours, it's back to the way it was when you started your transformation.
Which is good because I did just get a really great haircut before I met my handsome vampire.
Like you could get a tattoo and then a couple of hours it'd be gone. Like your form is locked.
And she is like probably 20. She was like 24 when she was turned. So
yeah, so
or
closer to age to Q than anything else. Cool.
Yeah.
And like so we basically know like of each other, but we don't
Yeah,
know.
so
Like,
here's
I
the
probably went to Riley to
relationships.
fix my car.
Right. So here's the relationships I'm aware of is Katia and Suki know each other. And you're renting from Suki. Suki, you know Riley because he's the only person you'll let work on your car. And Riley, you do also know that Suki talks to ghosts, like, but
You're one
that's
of them.
yeah, like
A spooky grandma.
yeah, you're not sure that she's like a hunter necessarily, but you're like, you know, she's got a touch of the weird. Weird touched. No, you know what? Phrasing. And Q, obviously you and Riley have been doing this for a few years and are together and know what each other can do. Q, you know that Riley knows a guy who can talk to ghosts, a person who talked to ghosts, but don't know who it is. And I think that's kind of what we've established.
Yeah.
Q, did you want to say the thing about Q's studies, or let that play out later?
Go ahead and mention that. So Q was a freshman in college, and he works in an art gallery, and he studies art at university. And I hear
Oh.
that one of the teachers in the art section are kind of weird.
Yeah. So Q is absolutely in one of your classes, but
Amazing.
you don't know anything about each other as far as the hunting goes. And Suki is known for great critique, but scathing critique. Like, you definitely want her pointers, but it hurts to get them.
Of
I'll rip you
course.
apart.
Of
But
course.
like sweet like.
But sweet like. Very cool.
Right on. All right. So that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out this morning.